Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. My childhood sweethearts are actually game bosses. Chapter 1. Assen City, War College. Primary School, 1 class in 1st grade. Open your mouth. A 7-year-old little girl with a cold appearance picked up a rice spoon in her hand and brought it to Yej's mouth. This is to feed him. Yeje, I can eat it myself. No. Gao Shenzu's eyes were as clear as ink. I promised my sister that I will take good care of you after you go to elementary school and not let you be picky eaters. Yeje had a grimace on his face. But, so many students in the class are watching, how embarrassing. It doesn't matter if you look at it. Gao Shenzu said with a calm expression, I am your godmother. Isn't it normal for a mother to feed her child? Yeje thought to himself, after all, my identity in this life is the young master of a family of demonized genetic mutants in Night City, and the heir to the largest demonized family in the future empire. As a result, I was fed like this when I was a child. Are you grown up? Can you not be too outrageous? However, with no other choice, Yej had no choice but to open her mouth with an obedient, ah, and accepted the spoonful of soft rice fed to her mouth. The little girl in front of her was as cold and elegant as a porcelain doll, with fair skin, ink-like eyes, and crow-feather-like black hair tied into a high ponytail. The little girl's expression was calm, as if nothing could cause her to show any other expression. Gao Shenzu scooped a spoonful of hot soup from the soup layer of the pink-insulated lunchbox, brought her cherry-red lips close to the spoon, and blew gently on it. After confirming that the temperature of the soup in the spoon is neither too hot nor too cold, he brings another spoonful of warm soup to Yej's mouth. Yej opened her mouth in pain and helplessness. Ah! Alas, I, a man with an adult heart, was reduced to being fed by a little girl in public, and I couldn't resist. It's so humiliating. Woohoo. Gudong. One mouthful and swallowed. But don't tell me, this soup is really delicious. Miyuki Mami's craftsmanship is quite good. In the back row of the classroom, a little boy from Shicheng in the north, wearing an animal skin, saw this scene and said in confusion, people from the Central Plains city-state are really strange. Do they still need to be fed when they are 7 years old? A female classmate wearing a magician's robe next to her said with a smile, Hee, you don't understand, this is called eating soft rice, it is very delicious. The little boy wondered, soft rice? Yej's face turned red. He poked Gao Shenzu's arm and whispered, Hey, I'd better do it by myself and let the new classmates from other city-states see the joke. Gao Shenzu stubbornly shook his head, his eyes calm, like a mother ignoring her child's resistance. No, obey me. Song of the night. As a result, Yej could only finish the box of soft rice with great torture under the watchful eyes of all the students in the class. After eating, Gao Shenzu packed up the lunchbox very skillfully. At the same time, he took out a wet tissue and carefully wiped Yej's mouth. Yeje was like an obedient child, sitting obediently and letting the little girl control her. Looking at the dignified and cold little girl next to him, Yeje couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Who would have thought that this little girl who looks gentle, cool, peaceful, and likes to take care of others like her mother would grow up to become such a terrifying dark villain boss? Gao Shenzu, currently 7 years old, is the strongest human boss in the future version 3.0 of the game plot. Yeje was not originally from this world. This was originally a game world called 10,000 Races Territory. The background of this world is that there are thousands of races, genetic evolution, martial arts are flourishing, science and technology are cultivating immortals, magic and supernatural powers collide with each other, and the entire world is 10,000 times larger than the Earth. There are constant wars between city-states and territories among all races, and the human race is only one of tens of thousands of civilized races in the world. The Zan Academy is a top-level extraordinary academy established to train and transport talents for the battlefields of all races of mankind. Absorb students from all over the empire who have extraordinary talents such as martial arts, supernatural powers, magic, immortality, and beast control, and train them to become the mainstays of protecting the human race. In the game, the adventurers controlled by the player can move freely in the territory of all races, killing enemies, monsters, upgrading, seizing treasures, seizing territories, promoting dungeons, promoting plots, and experiencing the entire lives of various game world characters and even NPCs. The playability and freedom of the entire game are quite high. Last night, Yej was using a holographic helmet to enter 10,000 Races, his favorite holographic real-life multiplayer online role-playing war adventure game. Who would have thought that suddenly everything went dark? System operation error. Then, he could never go back. Logically speaking, traveling to your favorite game world doesn't seem to be a bad thing. However, the bad thing is that the identity of the character he traveled to. Yi Jie, currently 7 years old, is from the Yi family, the largest demonized family in the human empire. His father, Yi Xiao, is the city lord of Night City, and his grandfather, Yi Quan, is a strong man in the Apocalypse realm. He once accompanied the late emperor on an expedition against all races. This sounds pretty cool. However, in fact, any player who understands the plot of this game will know that this is the most tragic, pitiful evil character in the game plot. He has the blood of ancient demons and comes from a war family, but he has a soft personality, gentleness and kindness, and is unwilling to hurt even a small animal. The Yi family was originally quite powerful among the human race. However, in the subsequent 1.5 version of the game plot, a traitor appeared within the Yi family. The family was destroyed. His father Yi Xiao was framed by a traitor on the front line of the battlefield of all races, his grandfather died tragically, and his mother died of depression. And Yi Jie is even worse. Because of his kindness, he was exploited by other nobles of the empire and a group of righteous forces known as famous families, until he became blind and disabled for life. In the end, his heart was pierced by 10,000 blades, and his soul light ate into his bones. Because of the specialness and rarity of his demonized mutant gene, even his body was taken away and dissected and experimented on by imperial scholars. Gao Shenzhou, a childhood sweetheart, saw with her own eyes that the kind and innocent Yej ended up like this. She was heartbroken and completely disappointed in human nature, so she completely turned black and left the realm of the human race. When she appeared in the public eye again, her appearance had not changed at all, but she had turned into a cold and ruthless dark female scientist. Founder of Dark Biomechanical Technology Company. He also personally triggered a nano-insect rebellion. That horrific disaster directly razed the entire Yasen city and more than a dozen surrounding human city-states to the ground. In the game, the background entries about Gao Shenzhou are: genius-level humanoid extraordinary mechanic. A super scientific female academic who combines magic and technology. Top scientists and biologists who will create the future world. In the game, the player's impression of her is that of a genius scientist who always wears a white coat, is cold and indifferent, and has a pair of long white legs that cannot be concealed. At the same time, she is also the strongest human boss in the 3.0 version of the game, 10,000 Races, a war mechanic who makes all players fearful. She is called the goddess of war destruction by players. The top boss with 9-star difficulty. He has invented countless top-notch mechanical weapons, perfectly integrated science with magic, supernatural powers, and immortal aura, and created extraordinary technological weapons such as magic cannons, psychic pulse cannons, and nano-element bombs, beating countless high-end gamers to their knees. Crying for father and mother. Just one of the high-end mechas she invented can destroy an entire civilized city-state. She also personally built a future city that combines technology and magic, but no humans are allowed to enter. Control an army of millions of dark machines and wage war against the human race with the power of one person, just to avenge the childhood sweetheart. In the future, the strength of the Great Qin Empire will be severely damaged, and nearly half of the human race will be destroyed, all related to this ultimate boss. Quote. Yi Jie recalled the background plot stories in these games and felt cold sweat. If the story of this world really develops according to this plot, then the future for him and Gao Shenzhou will not be good. Background information. Cultivation levels from low to high. Huang, Zan, Earth, Heaven, 100 souls, 1,000 souls, Wanxiang, Shira, Tianqi, Shengelin, Soul Emperor. Human career system. Martial arts, archer, mechanical, magic, supernatural, immortal, beast control, auxiliary, mutation, ghost control. Yi Jie was silent for a long time and regained his composure. He looked at the children in the class who were returning to their seats and sighed softly. Even if you want to travel to the game world, you don't have to make him a primary school student, right? Which version of the game is it now? when Yi Zhe was still a primary school student. Which chapter of the plot is it about? In the background story of the game, Yi Zhe is just a character living in the memory story of Gao Shenzhou, the big boss. Therefore, Yi Zhe knew very little about this character with the same name as him. Look, this is the magic flame I tempered after I finished my first magic class yesterday. A little fat man with a chubby face raised his finger proudly. On that finger, there was a weak flame the size of a peanut. There were a bunch of children around, all looking excited. Wow, Zhang Xiaoming, you are so amazing. The teacher just gave you the first magic lesson yesterday, and you actually learned it. Give me Kang, give me Kang. Ah, I obviously did it according to the method taught to me by the teacher, why can't I do it? Me too, my dad always says I'm too stupid. Zhang Xiaoming still raised his chin triumphantly and said, of course, extraordinary people have different talents. But Zhang Xiaoming, isn't your family specialized in ghost control? What do you know? This is called practicing more. I will become a full-time master in the future. I will learn magic, ghost control, beast control, firearms, and martial arts. What's so great about magic? My father said that cultivating immortality is the path a man should really take. Quote. Zhang Xiaoming boasted triumphantly, deliberately talking loudly in the classroom, and glanced at Gao Shenzhou from time to time. Because he hoped that Gao Shenzhou could, accidentally, hear it. However, Gao Shenzhou obviously didn't react at all. He still sat on the seat next to Yi Zhe, holding a tissue and carefully wiping the soup dripping on Yi Zhe's pants. Zhang Xiaoming's slightly fat cheek suddenly twitched slightly. Hateful, how can it be repaired? Night song, night song. At this time, a little girl with twin ponytails ran to Yezhe's seat, raised her two little hands, and said with an excited voice, Yezhe, let's play a horse riding game, shall we? Yi Zhe looked at the cute little girl in front of him with a blank expression, with pink and tender skin, and looked a little cute with her head tilted. He had just traveled through time yesterday, and many memories had not yet been fully integrated. By the way, the girl in front of him is called Xia Xiao. She was his friend since kindergarten, and they went to the elementary school of Zan Academy together. Wait, Xia Xiao. In the game, 10,000 races, there is only one Xia Xiao. In the game, the cruel and cold-blooded female devil of chaos. Xia Xiao, her original name, appears as a boss in the later stages of the game. Possessing dual bloodlines of the spirit race and the human race, his mother is the famous water-type superpower Liling, and his father is the city lord of a border city-state. And Xia Xiao, who was originally a water and wood superpower with unparalleled talent and peerless talent, later turned into a ruthless, tyrannical female devil due to unknown reasons, and changed her name to Xia Lengming. The 10 evil spirits of chaos under his command make all the dark races fearful. She is the villain who single-handedly slaughtered many human righteous guild members in the early stages of the game. It is also in the later stage of the game that he rules an entire realm of darkness and chaos, and officially transforms into the evil goddess, an 8-star difficulty boss. If the player does not defeat her, there will be a large area of important areas that cannot be explored. Is that terrifying? Murderous female devil actually my elementary school classmate. Yi Zhe looked at the little girl in front of him. No black eye shadow, no bloody magic lines. Such a childish, cute, and innocent appearance cannot be associated with the cold and ruthless dark boss female devil in the later version of the game. Ward days. What kind of monsters were all my childhood playmates? Hey, why don't you answer my words? Xia Xiao's pink face pouted, and she pulled Yi Zhe's arm eagerly. You promised me when you were in kindergarten, as long as my kindergarten graduation test score exceeds you just wanted to ride a horse with me and be my deskmate, are you regretting it? Yi Zhe opened his mouth. But before he could speak, Gao Shenzhou beside him said lightly, Xiaoyi has been weak since he was a child and cannot be a big horse for you to ride. Xia Xiao blinked a little cutely and looked at Gao Shenzhou next to her. Who are you? I don't think I've seen you in Zan kindergarten. Gao Shenzhou said calmly and seriously, I am his godmother. Song of the night. Xia Xiao was stunned. Gao Shenzhou glanced at Yi Zhe and continued, his mother and I are god sisters. His mother asked me to adopt him as her godson very early on. Since I am a mother, of course I have to protect my children. Quote. Yi Zhe looked embarrassed, although, it really does exist. However, it was just a bad joke from my mother when I was a child. And this little girl's movie actually took it seriously. Oh, there was a sense of innocence and ignorance in Xia Xiao's innocent eyes. For a child like her, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with this. Then she said happily and simply, then let's be tablemates together from now on. Gao Shenzhou, together. Xia Xiao, yeah. 3 of us make a trip. Song of the night. Gao Shenzhou looked at it and hesitated, but there are only 2 seats in a desk. It doesn't matter, I can share another table over here. The head teacher won't mind. Xia Xiao took Gao Shenzhou's hand expectantly and said, hey, can we make friends together? Friend. Gao Shenzhou's eyes showed confusion. Yes, Xia Xiao said enthusiastically and cheerfully. Mom said that after I go to school, I will have friends. We can play games together, build blocks together, play house together, We can also practice together. Gao Shenzhou didn't speak, as if he was hesitating for something. Classmate Yi Zhe and I have become friends since kindergarten. Xia Xiao continued. In the future, the 3 of us can still study and practice together every day. My mother said that the more people we practice together, the faster we can practice. Well, Gao Shenzhou looked at Xia Xiao holding her hand, seemingly lowering her head and thinking, and nodded slightly after a while. Haha, great, Xia Xiao said happily. My name is Xia Xiao, what is your name? Quote. Gao Shenzhou. Gao Shenzhou was silent for a moment and said softly. At this time, the class bell rang. A male teacher walked up to the podium. Xia Xiao stuck out her tongue playfully. Then I'll go first, I'll bring the chair over in a moment. Then she returned to her seat. After Xia Xiao left, Gao Shenzhou looked at her back in silence for a while before slowly sitting down. Yi Zhe glanced at Gao Shenzhou, who was sitting at the same table. The little girl's eyes are like ink, and her black hair like crow's feathers is tied up in a high ponytail, revealing the white and tender skin under the swan's neck. Because of her young age, her face is slightly chubby with baby fat, but she can't hide her natural cold temperament, and there is a maturity in her eyebrows that is not suitable for her age. Even though she is still a primary school student, she has a powerful aura that is as inaccessible as a glacier that lasts for thousands of years. It's unimaginable that I became elementary school classmates with Gao Shenzhou and Xia Xiao, the villain bosses in the game. Tisk tisk. Class begins. The civilization of all races is far more powerful than you think. The male teacher stood on the podium and had already started teaching. Don't think that all races only have powerful abilities. Many of them have cutting-edge technologies that we humans do not have. The scientific system that we humans are proud of is only the content of elementary school in the advanced civilizations of all races. The powerful modern weapons we rely on may be just children's toys to them. If humans want to catch up with them, and if they want to avoid becoming the prey of all races, they can only rely on the efforts of the next generation. The male teacher said seriously, then suddenly paused. Okay, that's it for the history, now class officially begins. Yesterday we talked about magic. Today's lesson is about swordsmanship. The swordsman profession is a branch of the warrior profession in the human race's extraordinary profession system, and it also has strong compatibility. Swordsmen are among the martial arts professions. Progress is slow in the early stages and requires hard work to achieve success. However, in the later stages, swordsmen can develop in a way that other warrior professions do not. On the battlefield of all races, many senior generals of our human race are also swordsman professionals, which shows that the upper limit of this profession is not low. The male teacher talked eloquently. When you were in kindergarten, you should have learned some basic kendo knowledge, right? Then today, the teacher will officially teach you sword skills. I'm going to invite 2 students to come up and give a demonstration. Can anyone volunteer? Zhang Xiaoming immediately raised his hands with excitement. Me. The male teacher nodded and asked Zhang Xiaoming to come onto the stage. Then he looked at the other children in the classroom. Is there anyone else? All the students looked at each other, no one raised their hands. The male teacher had no choice but to randomly click on the name on the badge. Yej, come up and demonstrate. Song of the night. So unlucky. Being called upon on the first day of school. Gao Shenzhou turned around and looked. Seeing that Yeji's expression seemed unwilling, she stood up and said calmly, "Teacher, I'll do it for him." The male teacher was startled for a moment, then laughed. "Why is that?" "Children, why do you have to take his place?" Gao Shenzhou said calmly and seriously, "Because I am his." "Ah." Yi Zhe quickly stood up and covered her mouth to prevent her from speaking. "Wu." Gao Shenzhou struggled, looking at him resentfully with her beautiful dark eyes, which actually looked a little aggrieved. "You'd better sit down." Yi Zhe looked helpless and pushed Gao Shenzhou back to his seat. Although she is Gao Shenzhou, the aloof mechanical goddess with the highest IQ among humans in the future, she is still a child after all. He actually takes the joke seriously. Yi Zhe stepped onto the actual combat stage. Different from the classrooms in the previous life, the classrooms in this world also have a classroom practice area between the podium and the student listening area. Specially prepared for students who come up to demonstrate in class. "Come on, Yej." Sha Xiao, a little girl, cheered for Yi Zhe excitedly from the front row seat. "I gave you homework yesterday. There should be some enlightenment methods for you to preview the use of weapons in advance, right?" The male teacher took out 2 wooden swords from the podium and handed them to the 2 of them. "You two, just demonstrate it to the whole class. Just practice 2 moves." "Okay." Zhang Xiaoming's eyes suddenly lit up. He looked at Yi Zhe standing opposite him and clenched the wooden sword in his hand. Although it has only been 2 days since he entered school, Zhang Xiaoming has already observed it. Almost no one in this class paid much attention to Gao Shenzhou. The only thing is to follow this Yi Zhe every day. The Bai Yugong in my mind is actually someone else's little follower. This was unacceptable to him. Zhang Xiaoming clenched the wooden sword and made up his mind to defeat Yi Zhe fiercely. As long as he can defeat Yi Zhe, he can become friends with Gao Shenzhou. No matter what age you are and what kind of world you live in, your desire to stand out in front of others and be admired by others will never change. Especially in front of the opposite gender. Yi Zhe reluctantly picked up the wooden sword. He actually had to compete with a primary school student. Outrageous. At this time, a burst of noise suddenly sounded in Yeji's consciousness. A sizzling, ding, personal system restart completed. System. What happened? Yeji's head suddenly hurt. Then a transparent game panel that only he could see appeared in front of him. Character Yi Zhe. Ajia. 7 years old. Racia. Human race. Level Yellow Realm, first stage. Life HP 103 103rds. Soul Power MP 90/90ths. 4-dimensional attributes: Strength 6, Agility 7, Spirit 7, Physical Strength 5. Basic attributes: Physical Attack 18, Magic Attack 17, Defense 15, Resistance 15, Burst 20, Speed 21, Dexterity 22, Perception 21. Special attributes: Luck 5, Charm 10, Intelligence 12. Main, Sub-Professor, none yet. Implantation of prostheses, none yet. Blood talent, Demonized gene variant. You have a very unique demon bloodline and are very adaptable. After reaching the 100 soul realm, you can turn on the full demon mode and human mode at will. More detailed attributes, click to view. Yi Zhe frowned slightly. Isn't this the personal panel that appeared when he first entered the holographic game, 10,000 races? Could it be that the game level has been restored? This interface is very familiar to him, a hardcore player of the game. But Yesh tried for a long time and couldn't find the exit game interface. Other than that, the panel is exactly the same as when he played the game. Tip. It is detected that the player has not signed in today. Do you want to sign in now? Wethera. Sign in. Is this even conceivable? Yi Zhe chose yes without hesitation. Sign in successfully. Obtained. 20,000 human empire currency, 100 game points exchanged for mall points. Detected new player signing in for the first time. Gift package for newbies. Please choose the type A. Newbie gift pack A. Coin gift pack. Randomly obtain 1 to 10 million human empire currency, good news for non-Krypton gold players. Newbie gift pack B. Special gift pack. Randomly obtain 3 kinds of white gold quality abilities, talents, bloodlines, or special items. Be careful with your face. Yi Zhe hesitated. I remember that the first time he played this game, he chose gift package A. Then he issued 10 imperial coins. Well, that's right, 10 yuan. That is the shadow of Night Song to this day. Yi Zhe decisively chose gift package B. Congratulations, you chose the novice B gift pack. Obtain special talent A Soul of the Weapon Spirit Gold. A. Acquire forbidden ability, demonic copy technique Gold. A. Obtain Spirit Pet Egg A Disaster Spirit Gold. A. Yeji's eyes suddenly brightened when he saw the golden flash. Wardfa, I have played the game, 10,000 races, for so many years, and I have never seen a golden flash. As a result, 3 newbie gift packs came to me at once today. Could it be that all my bad-faced characters who used to play games and unbox them are stored here? For a moment, Yi Zhe only felt waves of inexplicably powerful energy rapidly gathering in his body. Yi Zhe held the wooden sword in his hand, and suddenly felt an indescribable power quickly spreading throughout his body. Special talent. Soul of Weapon Spirit. Quality. Gold. Introduction. You are born with the ability to communicate with all weapons in the world. No matter what weapon is in your hands, you can quickly master it, and exert its maximum power. A. Effectiveness. 1. You can draw inferences from one instance to other cases in battle. In every battle, you can understand and create your own weapon moves. 2. Any quality weapon in your hand will be upgraded by 1 level by default. 3. Any weapon in your hand will receive an additional attribute bonus of strengthening and refining plus 13 stars by default, and can be superimposed with the normal weapon strengthening attribute bonus A. Yi Zhe lowered his head and looked at the wooden sword in his hand. Is this the effect of Soul of the Weapon Spirit? Holding this wooden sword, he felt as if this wooden sword was part of his body. The powerful sword energy gradually condensed on the sword body, causing the sword body to tremble slightly. The originally plain wooden sword was faintly wrapped with a pink halo. So amazing. Weapon. Academy Standard Spirit Wood Sword plus 13 stars. Level. Quasi-Huang Realm can be used above Quasi-Huang Realm. Quality. White blue. Attribute. Sharpness. 0.4 plus 5. Toughness. 0.3 plus 4. Strength. 1 plus 6. New. User S additional physical attack power plus 99. The values AA and new attributes after the plus sign are the new attributes after plus 13 enhancement. Note. The higher the level and the higher the quality of the equipment, the higher the attributes will increase after strengthening. Hey! At this time, Zhang Xiaoming on the actual combat stage raised his wooden sword and shouted, "Come on! I will defeat you." Raising the wooden sword high, a faint soul energy condensed on the wooden sword, and struck Yi Zhe with a fierce blow. When the male teacher saw Zhang Xiaoming making a move, his eyes suddenly moved. The male teacher noticed it as soon as he saw this kid making a move. Those who can go to Zanzan College have unusual family backgrounds. And this little fat guy's family background must be considered top-notch even in this class. His family must have given him a lot of cultivation resources when he was in kindergarten. He has just entered the 1st grade, and he is already at the 1st level of the official Yellow Realm. And he actually knows the most basic sword skills. Sword skills. Slash with all your might. Zhang Xiaoming swung his sword down very fiercely. However, this sword seemed to be full of flaws in Yi Zhe's eyes. Almost as a conditioned reflex, Yi Zhe just seemed to hold the sword and flick it casually. Click. The wooden sword in Zhang Xiaoming's hand was broken in half. The broken half of the wooden sword flew out from above the head. A panel prompt also appeared in front of Yi Zhe. Congratulations, you have learned a new swordsmanship skill in battle, sword pick style. A. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. The male teacher was immediately dumbfounded. Today is the 2nd day of school, and the male teacher still does not know the family background of each of the students in the class. I originally thought that Zhang Xiaoming was relatively powerful in this class. Unexpectedly, this seemingly thin Yi Zhe is even more secretive. Oops. Zhang Xiaoming lost his wooden sword and fell to the ground. The pain was so painful that he immediately shed tears. Wow. The little fat man burst into tears. Song of the night. Teacher, I'm reporting this. This is unfair. Zhang Xiaoming whined and pointed at the wooden sword in Night Singer. His wooden sword is sharper than mine. My sword was broken just as it touched him. Quote. Don't lie, this is a standard training wooden sword prepared by the teacher. They are all made of the same material, there is no difference at all. The male teacher came over and rolled his eyes at Zhang Xiaoming. This guy can't beat someone but still has to make excuses. Okay, that's it. The male teacher put his hand on Yeji's shoulder, looked at him and asked, have you ever learned sword skills before? Well, a little bit. Yi Zhe had no choice but to say this. Okay, very good. The male teacher smiled and said, then in this class, you can come and demonstrate with me. Well, Yi Zhe scratched his head. Is it better not to give it up? The male teacher was stunned and asked in confusion, what's wrong? What should I do if I get hurt? Ha ha ha, don't worry, teacher, I am very measured in my actions and will never hurt you. Moreover, teacher does not know how to use soul power, we are just demonstrating simple swordsmanship. Yi Zhe opened his mouth, but stopped talking. Oh well. Soon, Zhang Xiaoming was taken away. Yeji and the male teacher stood face to face on the combat stage. They all held a wooden sword in their hands. Students, please be optimistic. First, I will give you the basic moves to cover up and defend. The male teacher said, smiling at Yi Zhe in front of him, holding a sword in front of him with one hand and behind his back with the other. Come on, attack with all your strength. Yi Zhe hesitated. Do you want to go all out? He has just mastered the golden ability, but has not yet fully mastered the power control. As an experienced player of the game, he knows that even a wooden sword with a plus 13-star enhancement can easily kill people even if it is used by an ordinary person with no strength at all. It would be bad if you hurt someone. Of course I'm trying my best. The male teacher smiled and said, it's okay kid, come on, you don't have to be polite to the teacher. The teacher has also practiced. Ding. Daily tasks have been refreshed. Task requirement. Defeat the male teacher in the school swordsmanship class. Task reward. Lucky blind box 5. Yi Ji's eyes lit up. Daily tasks. Yeah, okay. Then teacher, I won't be polite. Yi Zhe suddenly changed his face, no longer hesitating at all. He slowly raised the wooden sword in his hand, his eyes gradually became sharp and serious. It's pretty cool. The male teacher smiled faintly in his heart. He seems to be a very diligent student. Of course, you're welcome, even if you attack. Shua. The male teacher was still expressing his relief. The next moment, all I heard was the rapid swing of a wooden sword. The male teacher's pupils dilated instantly. Yi Zhe has already attacked with one sword. Click a. Dang Kang. The male teacher was still stunned. The sword in his hand has disappeared. It turned out that he was thrown away by Yeji's wooden sword and fell behind the combat stage. Yeji's wooden sword, on the other hand, had quickly struck the male teacher's abdomen. Ouch! The male teacher screamed in pain, his face suddenly turned green, and he squatted down with his belly full, unable to speak for a while. Wow! When the students in the class saw this scene, they all exclaimed in amazement. Especially the female classmates, their eyes shining with admiration when looking at Yeji. Pairs of small hands clapped their hands, papa. Especially Xia Xiao, who cheered the most enthusiastically. Gao Shenzhou looked at Yi Zhe with a suspicious expression. After a while, the male teacher slowly came over, rubbed his belly and stood up from the ground. This little guy is really ruthless. But you can't blame Yi Zhe, after all, he was the one who made people use all their strength. Fortunately, he has practiced. The male teacher showed a somewhat complicated expression. What was the move you just made, called? Why was it so fast? That move just now. Yi Zhe tilted his head, pondered for a moment, and then the panel appeared in front of him again. Congratulations, you have learned a new swordsmanship skill in battle sword rushing style. It should be called sword rushing style. Quote. The male teacher looked complicated. Could it be that this kid comes from some kendo family? The teacher didn't pay attention just now, let's do it again. Okay. Yi Zhe looked cute. The male teacher picked up the wooden sword and returned to the actual combat stage. This time, He didn't dare to be lazy anymore. He held the sword in both hands and his eyes became serious. Come on, attack at will. Yi Jie was not polite and took action again. When, click. After 2 simple moves, the wooden sword in the male teacher's hand flew out again. The male teacher was completely confused. He couldn't see clearly how Yi Jie used his sword. He only felt that the wooden sword in his hand seemed to be entangled by a flexible snake. Even if he had greater strength, he could not exert force and was easily thrown away by the opponent. Yi Jie looked up. Congratulations, you have learned a new swordsmanship skill in battle soft sword style. Just now the teacher's hand slipped. The male teacher looked at the innocent eyes of the classmates and felt his face burning with embarrassment. No, let's do it again. Quote. Yi Jie sighed. Okay. Forget it, Lita S put some water in it. Ida S not easy being a teacher either. It's not good to make people unable to come to the stage. This time, I will attack and you will defend. The male teacher gritted his teeth. Yi Jie. Okay. This time, the male teacher saw Yi Jie's flaws. Even though his swordsmanship skills are very good, he has a fatal weakness. Height, too young, not tall enough, and arms not long enough. This means that his defensive range is very narrow. Come, the male teacher shouted loudly and slashed away with his sword. Yi Jie frowned slightly, feeling the power of this sword. The sense of crisis made him subconsciously raise his hand and swing his sword with all his strength. Congratulations, you have learned a new swordsmanship skill in battle breaking sword style. Crack-a. Boom. The wooden sword in the male teacher's hand was broken with a click. In an instant, just like Zhang Xiaoming just now, he was forced to stagger back several steps by the force of the sword, and fell to the ground with a snap. The male teacher stared blankly at the broken wooden sword in his hand, with a look of doubt on his face. He was actually raped by a primary school student who had just entered the 1st grade. Teacher, I'm sorry, are you okay? Yi Jie came to the male teacher apologetically and wanted to help him up. He originally wanted to hold it back just now. But just now the male teacher swung his sword with great force. The special talent of Yi Song's spirit soul immediately sensed the threat of this sword, so he subconsciously held back. Male teacher. No, it's okay. After class, at noon. Congratulations on completing the daily task. Obtain. Lucky Blind Box 5. Lucky Blind Boxes, also known as civilian blind boxes, can be obtained by completing daily tasks in the game. But generally speaking, what you can get after opening it are ordinary props of white or blue quality. At least when Yi Jie was playing the game, he had never opened an item above purple from an ordinary lucky blind box. But now I accidentally traveled to the game world. At this time, it is good to have it, but is it disgusting to have it? Yi Jie directly chooses to open it. You open the lucky blind box. Obtain. Item, Primary Life Restoration Potion 10, white. You open the lucky blind box. Obtain. Weapona Sting Pistol, white. You open the lucky blind box. Obtain. Material, Furnace Fire Carbon 30, white. You open the lucky blind box. Obtained. Idma Elementary Cultivation Secret Medicine 10, blue. Congratulations. You open the lucky blind box. Obtained. Idma Learning Amplification Secret Potion 10, pink. Yi Jie's eyes suddenly brightened. Good luck. With just 5 blind boxes, I actually got pink quality props. Pink quality is already regarded as the best treasure, and it is the main resource that all major races compete for in the world of thousands of races. Red quality is basically priceless, and 90% of red quality items are only in the hands of the top 10 advanced civilized races among all races. The golden quality almost only exists in legends, and it is difficult for ordinary people to see it with their own eyes once in dozens of lifetimes. Being able to produce pink items has greatly exceeded Yeji's expectations. When did you become so good with the sword? A voice came softly from beside him. Gao Shenzhou, who was at the same table, was sitting next to him, looking at him calmly. Only then did Yi Jie come back to his senses from his thoughts, looked at Gao Shenzhou next to him, and responded casually, I learned it at home. I don't remember my uncle arranging swordsmanship lessons for you. Quote. I read it in the textbook. I picked it up and found it quite useful. Of course Yi Jie couldn't reveal his secrets, even to Xiao Qingmei who grew up with him, so he could only make it up casually. The little girl's beautiful eyes, as clear as cold springs, looked at Ye calmly and did not continue to ask, "Picture. It's time to have lunch again." The little girl took out a cute pink insulated lunch box from the desk drawer, placed it on the table, opened it, and found a beautifully made meal inside. Gao Shenzhou took out a pink spoon, took a mouthful of rice, then brought it to Yi Ji's mouth, and said softly, "Open your mouth, ah." Song of the night. No. You are obviously the cold and ruthless villain boss in the future. Why were you so keen on feeding people when you were a child? Helpless, Yesh had no choice but to open his mouth, and once again helplessly accepted the food the little girl put into his mouth. Gao Shenzhou looked like a wife who had taken care of her disabled husband for many years. She was gentle and peaceful, her eyes silently watching Yi Jie swallow a mouthful of rice, and then use chopsticks to pick up a mouthful of vegetables. How can she look like a cold and dark female scientist? Yi Jie was quite helpless. Now, his memory is almost completely integrated with this body. He and Gao Shenzhou grew up together. Gao Shenzhou was the child of an old housekeeper in the Yi family. After the old housekeeper passed away, she became an orphan, but her mother still kept her in the Yi family and treated her like a family member. As a result, Gao Shenzhou has been responsible for Yeji's daily life almost since he was sensible, helping him feed and dress him, supervise his homework, help him clean up the house, and take care of his washing. At the same time, he was also a little spy placed by his mother. His mother always told Gao Shenzhou that if Yi Jie secretly did something bad, tell her. Of course, when a mother tells Gao Shenzhou like this, Gao Shenzhou will run over and tell Yi Jie. Yi Jie looked at the little girl in front of him who was obviously only 7 years old, but was feeding him like a mature mother, and felt quite helpless. He had a strange feeling in his heart when he thought that the little girl feeding him was the ultimate boss in the game that had all the players on the server stuck for 3 months without any solution. Such a cold and ruthless boss behind the villain biotechnology group, a cold-blooded female boss who throws people away for in vivo experiments when unhappy, a villain who has made countless adventurers shun, actually had such potential to be a mother when he was a child. Outrageous. Yi Jie thought about his current situation while chewing the food Gao Shenzhou fed him. Although the game system panel has been restored, he still has not been able to find the button to exit the game and return to reality. Isn't this the virtual world of a game program? Did he really travel into the real world of the game? Yi Jie remembered that at the beginning of the design of the game, 10,000 races, in order to ensure the safety and mental health of the players, the upper limit of the pain sensitivity was designed to be 15%. Yi Jie has just passed the test, and his current pain sensation in this world is absolutely 100%. If the game is running, it should be impossible for such a security vulnerability to occur. But if that's the case, why did the game's system travel with him? Yi Jie murmured, puzzled. At this time, Gao Shenzhou, who was next to her, picked up another piece of meat, brought the chopsticks to Yeji's mouth, and her small lips slightly opened to indicate, "Ah." Song of the night. Although mother asked you to watch me eat, are you sure this won't make me a cripple? Please, I am the young master of a family of demonized mutants, and in the future I will be the city lord of the Yi family's territory. It doesn't matter if Xiaoyi becomes a cripple. Gao Shenzhou said calmly. If Xiaoyi becomes crippled, I will be responsible for taking care of you. Song of the night. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, after school. Hundreds of high-end luxury cars were neatly parked at the entrance of the Yasen City War College. In front of each luxury car was a smartly dressed adult, all of whom came to pick up the young masters and young ladies returning home from school. Butler or servant. The only people who can attend the Zan Zan Academy are those children who have been discovered by the private sector and have special extraordinary talents. A large number of students are generally children of noble families. Generally, the noble lords with titles from various places around the southern border of the empire, or the children of various guilds, sects, and the bosses of major chaebol companies, are sent here to be gilded. Xia Xiao saw Yi Jie and Gao Shenzhou walking towards the same car, and immediately ran over and asked, "Do you live in the same place?" Photo. Gao Shenzhou nodded slightly, "Yes." Xia Xiao blinked in surprise. "You're not really Yi Ji's godmother, are you?" Gao Shenzhou opened her mouth and wanted to answer yes. Yi Zhe immediately reached out to grab her neck, and no matter how much she struggled, he firmly covered her mouth with his hand, and said helplessly, "Of course not, Miyuki-san just happened to be with me at our house since she was a child. Grow up." Xia Xiao tilted her head. Then why did she say during the day? That's just us playing house, she hasn't acted yet. That's all Yi Zhe could say. So that's it. Xia Xiao looked happy. Then can I join you? Well, I can play your father. In this way, we will be a family of 3. Song of the night. After another explanation, Yesh finally managed to fool him. Xia Xiao happily waved goodbye to them, and said she would invite them to her house another day, and then followed her housekeeper into the car and went home. On the way home, in the car, Yi Zhe gave Gao Shenzhou a good education and expressed his dissatisfaction with her. Yi Zhe wanted to make Gao Shenzhou understand that her talking nonsense outside would cause a lot of trouble to him. Gao Shenzhou still didn't seem to have any mood swings. She just looked at him with calm and clear dark eyes. "But I am your godmother." "Yi Zhe, we can't tell it outside, it can only be a little secret between the two of us, otherwise I will be laughed at. Mother Miyuki doesn't want me to be laughed at by my classmates outside, right?" Gao Shenzhou pondered for a moment and seemed to think it made sense. He nodded reluctantly. Yi Zhe breathed out. This girl, after becoming a boss in version 3.0, she caused countless players headaches and madness, but she was also such a headache when she was a child. The housekeeper who was driving in front heard the conversation between the two children and couldn't help laughing and shaking his head. Of course he wouldn't care, he would just treat it as a child's role-playing game. Although this world where all races are fighting and darkness is raging is cruel, the world of children is still very innocent and beautiful. Return to Yejia. Although Yi Zhe knew that he could send his children to study at the Southern War College, and at the same time, as the largest family of demonized mutants in the Empire, the Yi family must still have some strength. But when he returned to Yejia and saw the large manor of Yejia, Yi Zhe couldn't help but feel a little stunned. Ida's bigger than school but not bad. When you enter through the big iron gate, you will see a beautiful magic fountain. The bright sunset shines on the dignified and majestic sculptures. A gorgeous garden comparable to a palace, servants in maid uniforms cleaning the garden, villa complexes from various city-state styles, and a luxury cars parked in front of the villa. Yi Zhe thought to himself, this is simply a CG-like picture in the game world. Oh, this is the game world. That's okay. The black car stopped, the maid waiting on one side opened the door, and Yesh and Gao Shenzhou got out of the car one after another. As soon as she returned to the villa, a gentle, young and beautiful woman with apricot curly hair came up to her, picked up Gao Shenzhou, held her in her arms and kissed her. "Oh, my Shuei is finally back from school, but I miss my sister so much." Photo. Yi Zhe raised his little head and looked at the young and beautiful woman, and memories came to his mind. I thought to myself, isn't this my mother Zhou Yuqing? Good guy. We also came back from school together. We ran past our biological son without even looking at him, but we were so enthusiastic towards Gao Shenzhou. She was a biological mother. Zhou Yuqing smiled. Good Shuei, do you miss your sister very much? Gao Shenzhou's white and delicate little face was deeply kissed by Zhou Yuqing, completely deformed, and then bounced back to normal in a second, but the little girl didn't seem to be struggling at all, like a porcelain doll that could be manipulated by others. Sister, we only went to school for 2 days. After Gao Shenzhou was sucked hard by Zhou Yuqing for more than a dozen times, she finally couldn't help but speak. I will miss you very much for 2 days. Zhou Yuqing pouted her lips and said a little aggrievedly. Then she suddenly remembered something and pointed to Yi Zhe next to her. By the way, Xiao Yi Zhe, has he been disobedient today? Song of the night. It's good, I can still think of having a son. Gao Shenzhou glanced at Yi Zhe and said, he is very obedient and performs well in school. Haha, that's good. Zhou Yuqing finally put Gao Shenzhou down. Then she stretched out her hand and rubbed Yej's head. Xiao Yej, it's your second day of school today. You probably didn't get into a fight with any classmates you didn't know, right? Yi Zhe sighed and said, Mom, you should know that your son is not the kind of person who likes to cause trouble. Before time travel, Yi Zhe was the young master of a family of demonized mutants, but he had a very gentle and friendly personality. He was the kind of child who was unwilling to hurt even small animals. Yeah, of course I know. Zhou Yuqing smiled and rubbed Yi Ji's head. The only drawback is that I am a little picky about food, but it doesn't matter, I will let Shuai watch you eat in the future. Song of the night. ... After dinner, Yi Zhe returned to his room alone. Lock the door and shut yourself in the room. Call. Yi Zhe exhaled and looked at this large room of 50 square meters. It is really too spacious for a 7-year-old child to live in such a large room. After trying for another afternoon, Yesh was sure that he could not go back, so he accepted the fact that he must have traveled through time just like the plot of a traditional online novel. Since you can't go back, let's adapt to the world here. Yi Zhe took a deep breath and opened his game system panel again. Daily tasks are refreshed every day, random tasks are triggered by looking at faces. A sign Ina, complete the sign in every day to get rewards. Item space, items can be stored here. Attributes, view your personal attributes, skill tree. Auction house, you can auction the items you want to sell. Achievements, rewards can be obtained by achieving achievements. Exchange mall, points can be redeemed for god level items. Map and strategy guide, you can view the in-game maps, various occupations, equipment, and detailed information on all major civilizations. Yi Zhe knew very well that the character he traveled through time would not have a happy ending if he followed the normal plot of the original work. Even the entire Yi family, including Gao Shenzhou, is a tragedy in the entire game plot. Yi Zhe couldn't help but recall the history of the Yi family in the background of the game. Thousands of years ago, a demonic disaster killed hundreds of millions of creatures, thousands of human city-states fell, and countless people were contaminated by demonic energy and turned into monsters. The ancestors of the Yi family were accidentally contaminated by demon blood during that demonic disaster, but they did not die or deform into monsters. Instead, he used the demonic energy in his body to strengthen his own powers and became the first demonized humans who could control their own sanity. After thousands of years of research, anthropologists still cannot figure out why the Yi family can still maintain their sanity and humanity after being contaminated by demonic energy. Even though the people of the Yi family were able to control their own demonic power, and performed meritorious service for the empire in that war, and gained noble titles and territories, the Yi family still suffered discrimination among other nobles in human society, and were demonized. These two words are enough to make many people fear them and stay away from them. And the Yi family is indeed synonymous with war. 70% of the wealth of the entire family and territory comes from war. For thousands of years, the Yi family has made great achievements for the empire on the battlefield of all races. Their bravery and madness on the battlefield are well known to everyone. Although the Yi family only had one Viscounty territory in the empire, during the period when the human race was at its weakest, the Yi family was definitely the mainstay of the entire Great Qin Empire against all races. Even the most ferocious demon race will try their best to avoid confrontation with the Yi family's army on the battlefield of all races, because this group of natural fighting lunatics are really desperate for their lives in a fight. But precisely because of this, there are many guilds, families, and sects of White Path extraordinary people in the empire who consider themselves reputable and upright, as well as night watchmen and demon hunters. They all regard the Yi family as a threat and think that the reason why they are brave and good at fighting because of the demon blood in their bodies, and sooner or later they will reveal their demonic nature. After the death of the old emperor, this generation of young imperial kings obviously disliked the Yi family very much. Duke Wang En in the south has often caused trouble for the Yi family in the past few years, and often conflicts with the Yi family in shopping malls and trade. The Taoist Company, the Confucian Company, the Mohist Company and other 9-level White Dao forces, including the Southern Territory Federal Extraordinary Association, often target the Yi family. Nangong Ru, the female director of the Empire's Night Watch Bureau, even publicly stated directly in front of the news media, demonized mutants are not human beings at all. Leng Yuaning, the master of Yuaning Palace, the largest sect of white Taoist cultivators in the human race, also said that one day she would kill all the dark races, including demonized mutants. Because her sister was once killed by genetically crazy demonized mutants. Yi Zhe couldn't help but smile bitterly. Now in his childhood, he sees that all the beauty before his eyes is short-lived. In the future, the Yi family will continue to express their loyalty to the Empire, but they have never been recognized by the White Dao forces. But since he came to this world, Yi Zhe naturally wanted to change everything. Since he came to this world and became a member of the Yi family, he must try his best to protect the Yi family. As long as the strength is improved, anything can be said. As a hardcore player of the game, Yi Zhe certainly knows that in this world, strength is everything. Yi Zhe thought so and opened the detailed panel of his personal attributes. Martial Arts Professional Learning Ability Value, 33, Level C. Magic Professional Learning Ability Value, 42, Level B. Superpower Professional Learning Ability Value, 69, S Level. Cultivation Professional Learning Ability Value, 50, A Level. Beast Control Professional Learning Ability Value, 58, A Level. Supporting Occupation, Learning Ability Value, 15, E Level. Archer Profession, Learning Ability Value, 61, S Level. Mutation Occupation, Learning Ability Value, 50, A Level. Ghost Controller Occupational Learning Ability Value, 43, Level B. Machinist Occupational Learning Ability Value, 25, Level D. Yi Zhe looked at his panel and nodded with satisfaction. In this game, the learning ability value is very important and can almost be linked to talent. The learning ability value of a profession basically determines whether the character has the talent for that profession. As the young master of the demonized family, Yeji's learning abilities and talents in various professions can be considered pretty good. The human occupation system is basically divided into 10 major occupational types: martial arts, magic, supernatural, immortal cultivation, beast control, auxiliary, archer, mutation, ghost control, and mechanical. At the same time, each major category of professions has many branches. For example, in martial arts professions, there are swordsmen, axe warriors, fighters, qigong masters, etc. In archer professions, there are also gunners, archers, gunners, etc. All learning talents have the lowest level F 1 to 9 and the highest level SSS 80 to 90. Having an A-level learning talent can be regarded as an outstanding top talent among ordinary people, and can be focused on training in most schools of extraordinary people in this world. Having an S-level learning talent can be called for genius. Those with SS level or above are the only monsters to be chosen among tens of millions of people. As for the SSS level, it can be said that it is 1 in a billion. There are no more than 10 humans in the world with SSS level talents. Yi Ji's current talents, at least the 2 learning talents of superpower and marksman, are S level. Moreover, he also has 10 learning power increasing secret medicines. Yi Zhe opens the system's inventory and clicks to select and use it. You have used the prop, Learning Amplification Secret Potion. Please select the professional talent you want to increase. A. Yi Zhe thought for a moment. Among the 3 golden ones he drew before, Demonized Copy Technique is a taboo ability of the superpower type. It is a variant of the dark superpower technique. It can copy all the skills used by the enemy and transform them into its own version of the demonized dark skill. Soul of the Weapon Spirit is the top special talent coveted by martial arts professionals. The Spiritual Pet Egg, Spirit of Disaster, is somewhat special. It is the top golden spirit egg for the Beastmaster profession. However, according to the game background, it seems that not all Beastmasters can control the dark spiritual pet. Yeji planned to mention the learning ability of these 3 professions first. Yi Zhe took out a secret potion to increase learning ability, raised his neck and drank it all. The secret medicine for increasing learning ability is a pink quality medicine researched and produced by the most mysterious force in the entire game world, the Gene Company. The background of this company is mysterious, and even Yeji, as a player, does not know their true identity. Some people say that the big boss behind the Gene Company may not be human at all. The secret medicine for increasing learning ability is a very precious prop in the game. Although the quality is only pink, the quantity is extremely rare, and the market is completely in short supply. In the auction house, it can be sold for tens of millions or even over 100 million. It allows players to choose to improve the learning ability of a certain extraordinary profession of the character. Of course, when the talent reaches S level 60 or above, if you want to use secret medicine to continue to increase the value, there is a high probability that the improvement will fail. After reaching SS level, the probability of failure becomes even greater. But even so, this kind of secret medicine for learning power is often priceless and unmarketable. Even if you have money, you can't buy it. In the current world timeline of 10,000 races, this secret medicine seems to have just been developed by the Gene Company. Props used successfully. Congratulations. The use is successful, and because of your bloodline talent, your drug absorption effect is excellent, your learning ability is increased and your critical hits are doubled. The improvement effect is A8. A. Your ability learning ability value is +8, which has been increased to 77 SS level. Congratulations. The use is successful, and because of your bloodline talent, your drug absorption effect is excellent, your learning ability is increased and your critical hits are doubled. The improvement effect is A6. A. Your ability learning ability value +6 has been increased to 83 SSS level. A. Yi Ji's eyes lit up. Not only did it not fail once, but it actually doubled. The 10 secret learning potions have been used up. Yi Ji looked at his attribute panel. The learning talents of the 3 professions of martial arts, superpower, and beast control happened to have all reached the SSS level by him. Yi Ji picked up his first-grade elementary school textbook, Basic Essentials of Martial Arts, and flipped through it casually. For a moment, he seemed to have an epiphany. Yesterday, the textbook seemed like a heavenly book. Today, he could easily learn it after just a few glances. Tisk, this is too simple. No, why did I find this thing so difficult before? Shouldn't it be something that an individual can master just like breathing? Does this kind of thing also need to be taught? Who are you looking down on? ... An hour later. Yi Ji closed his eyes and meditated, his whole body surrounded by soul energy. Boom. Breakthrough. The second stage of the Yellow Realm. Yi Ji opened his eyes and slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air. After the improvement of learning ability, the speed of cultivation has obviously been affected and has become much faster. Coupled with the elementary cultivation secret medicine, given by the lucky blind box during the day, it was particularly effective for him who was only in the Yellow Realm, and Yeji's cultivation speed suddenly increased a lot. At this time, the dark black spiritual pet egg seemed to be moving. Click, click, a small thing burst out of it. It turned out to be a little crow with pitch-black body and red eyes. Is this the spirit of disaster? Yi Ji knew the process of the Beast Master. After pondering for a moment, he cut one of his fingers, and then tapped his index finger on the head of the little crow. The blood essence seeping from the fingertips was gradually absorbed by the little crow, and was absorbed by the little crow. A faint mark was left on his head. As the blood essence is absorbed, the faint mark gradually disappears. The spirit of disaster opened its eyes directly after absorbing the blood essence. It did not need to be taken care of like a regular baby creature. It had plumage as soon as it was born. The little guy looked up and saw Yi Ji, and he flapped his wings actively, leaving wisps of ethereal black smoke on the flight path, and finally fell on Yi Ji's shoulders. Yi Ji stretched out his finger to tease it, and the spirit of disaster also pecked Yi Ji's finger with its beak. Rumor has it that the spirit of disaster is a demonic messenger from hell, and will never easily obey orders and be controlled by human beast masters. There was once a master beast master in the apocalypse realm who wanted to tame a disaster spirit, but was instead attacked by it and turned into a filthy monster that was inhumane. But now it seems that it is not as scary as the rumors said. Isn't this cute? Yi Ji teased the little crow for a while, smiled lightly, and thought it was quite interesting. Now, he is considered to be an extraordinary person who cultivates 3 professions: martial arts, supernatural powers, and beast control at the same time. Generally speaking, most of the extraordinary people in this world make professional choices when they are in elementary school. They usually only choose one profession and specialize in practice. After graduating from high school, you still have the opportunity to choose a new career and change majors. But normally speaking, a person will not have more than 2 extraordinary professions. After all, human energy is limited, and it is not easy for most people to learn one of these professions. However, Night Song is different. He is a noble time traveler and a distinguished player from another world. He has a check-in and mission system that the natives of this game world do not have. Yej is only 7 years old now and has just entered elementary school. If calculated based on the ages of Gao Shenzhou and Sha Xiao, the current plot background should be the version 1.0 of the game just after it was launched. After 10 years of signing in, 10 years of hanging up, and 10 years of liver missions, when he reaches adulthood, won't he be invincible? When the time comes, what calamity will the Yi family still fear? Yi Zhe smiled, closed his eyes, slowly crossed his short legs, and Shen Shen continued to practice. Background information. 2,000 years ago, the human continent was in disarray. The styles of city-state territories in various places were very different, with different customs, cultures, writings, and languages. The human race often had internal wars in various regions. The cities of the Eastern civilization of the human continent are good at martial arts and immortality. The cities of the Western civilization of the mainland have learned to control magic and machinery. The northern nomads are proficient in beast control and psychic skills. The southern tribes are good at controlling ghosts, curses, and supernatural powers. The central region of the continent there are no evolvers who have inherited extraordinary genes, but this has also led to the explosive development of the technology tree in this area. There are countless people who have ascended technology, and various high-tech weapons are enough to compete with extraordinary people in other areas. 1,500 years ago, an empire emerged, unifying all the city-states and tribes in the entire human continent, establishing a defense line for all races, unifying the language and writing, and gathering the extraordinary abilities of all the families. These abilities also became the extraordinary ones across the country. Curriculum subjects that students learn from an early age. The empire was finally named Qin. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed. The vast expanse of green forest is full of vitality. Swish, 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 3 extremely fast black shadows shuttled through the dense jungle. Yi Zhe, Gao Shenzhou, and Sha Xiao formed a team, jumping between several dense trees at extremely high speeds. After walking quickly for a while, the 3 small children hid themselves in a tacit understanding. Yi Zhe and the others are already 10 years old. At 10 years old, he is already considered an adult in this world full of thousands of races and full of spiritual energy. A 10-year-old child, with enough training, can already understand most things in the world. As students of the Zan Zan Academy, they have to accept and perform tasks like ordinary human transcendent warriors since elementary school. This is also a kind of exercise for students. The students who can graduate from the Zan Zan Academy are all the mainstay talents of various families and forces. In the future, it will also be the important combat power of the great Qin Empire on the battlefield of all races. The difficulty of tasks for primary school students is generally not too high. They are usually between F level and E level. They are either helping to find lost items, investigating thieves, or even helping to rescue kittens trapped at high altitudes and collecting low-risk items in the wild. Regional spiritual plants, etc. The most difficult thing is to deal with criminals such as thieves, robbers, gangsters, kidnappers, and fraudsters. Although these criminals are adults, they are ordinary people, not extraordinary people, so even a primary school student in the Yellow Realm can easily deal with them. In the missions of primary school students, gangster gangs with extraordinary beings will generally not appear, nor will creatures of all races appear. But there are always surprises in everything. The difference between games and reality is that the difficulty of tasks in the game is fixed. In reality, you don't know what accidents and changes will happen. Song of the Night. Sha Xiao whispered. The difficulty of our mission this time should have exceeded the 6th grade graduation level, right? Those gangsters seem to have guns in their hands. Yes. Yesh hid in the dense canopy of trees and quietly observed the surrounding environment. Follow me closely, and be sure not to fall behind. But, will it be too dangerous to go deeper? Sha Xiao worried. Originally, there were only 3 gangsters in the mission, but now there are at least 20 dozen. Otherwise, we should go back. Shall we report it to the teacher? Gao Shenzhou turned his head and glanced sideways, and said softly, this is no longer an E-level mission. I also think that it would be safer to retreat temporarily. Crow. A pitch-black crow flapped its wings, flew back, and landed on Yej's shoulder, its red eyes flashing spiritually. Yi Zhe was silent for a moment, and seemed to hear the crow saying something to him. It's too late. Watch out, they're coming. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard, swish, 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 and several black shadows flashed out from the trees. Shua-a. A black figure wearing a gangster's hood suddenly burst out from the dense canopy of trees, holding a sharp dagger and coming towards us. The short knife slashed straight at Yeji's neck, very fast. A dazzling cold light was drawn in the air. Yi Jie watched the dagger coming, his eyes as calm as water. But he made no dodge action at all. Hey, go to hell, kid. The vicious gangster thought Yi Jie had been frightened and showed a cruel sneer. He could already imagine the scene of the knife slicing through Yi Jie's neck and the blood splattering. However, the moment this knife struck Yi Jie, Yeji's figure suddenly popped into a group of ethereal and strange black mist, and scattered in all directions. The gangster looked stunned. Before he could react, the strange black mist quickly gathered and took shape behind him, taking the shape of Yi Jie. Yeji's eyes were indifferent, and a black metal straight horizontal knife appeared in his hand. A decisive and sharp blow. A piercing cold light penetrated from his chest. Ah! The gangster's eyes widened and he looked down at the straight knife protruding from his chest, as if he still didn't understand how he died. The gangster fell from the tree and fell heavily to the ground. After a while, Yi Jie, Gao Shenzhou, and Sha Xiao also fell from the trees and landed in an open space. The gangsters also jumped down from the trees one after another. About 20 bandits wearing hoods appeared from the dense jungle in all directions and surrounded them. The bandit leader looked at the dead bandit on the ground, paused, and said, "Kids nowadays are really ruthless. They killed one of my brothers with just one move." Yi Jie glanced at the gangster leader and narrowed his eyes. The 7th level of the Yellow Realm. It seems that there is indeed a problem with the mission intelligence this time. It's obviously just an E-level mission, it should just be some gangsters organized by ordinary people. But now, the opponent not only has a gun, but also a transcendent from the Yellow Realm. This is already a D-level mission. And there is more than one. Yi Jie took another look at the gangsters surrounding them. There are at least a dozen people, all extraordinary people in the Yellow Realm. Hehe, kids are quite discerning. These people should be students of the Zan Zan Academy. The gangster leader had a playful look in his eyes, took out a dagger, turned it over in his hand, and walked towards them step by step. It's a pity. If you want to blame it, it's your bad luck, you just happened to take over our mission. Before he finished speaking, the gang leader felt a terrifying dark aura spreading. I saw Yeji's face was cold, and a strange black mist surrounded him. One after another, pitch black crows flapped their wings and flew out from the black mist, making sharp and harsh cries. First level of Xuanjing. The gangster leader's pupils shrank, thinking that his senses were wrong. A primary school student, the strength of Xuanjing. Are you kidding me? Are all the masters of the mysterious realm so worthless these days? The other gangsters were also dumbfounded, and the dozen crows were already flapping their wings and flying towards them. What is this? The gangsters slashed at the crows with their knives in a panic. However, with each strike of the knife, those crows seemed to have no entity, turning into illusory black mist and scattering, and then enveloped and wrapped them strangely. With screams, in the blink of an eye, more than a dozen gangsters fell down inexplicably, wrapped in a strange black mist. Before they died, they all held their throats, their eyes widened, they were sweating, their expressions were extremely painful, and their bodies gradually became stiff. In just a few seconds, all these people lost their breath. The other gangsters immediately panicked. This kid is evil. Don't confront him head on. Grab the 2 girls next to you. Use those 2 girls as hostages. Someone quickly reacted. A tall gangster suddenly came up behind Gao Shenzhou, reached out and grabbed her neck with his arm, and then put a knife in front of her face. The tall gangster took the girl as a hostage and said to Yi Jie in a deep voice, "Don't move, you brat. Otherwise I will kill her." Even though Gao Shenzhou was held hostage by the gangster, he did not struggle, but the expression on his face seemed to be the same as the river of frost that had not changed for thousands of years, plain and elegant. Yi Jie turned around and glanced at the gangster, slightly stunned. "Are you sure you want to arrest her?" The tall gangster was stunned for a moment. Then he heard something like a buzzing, mechanical thing flying around him. He turned around and saw that there were 4 small flying robots with cute cartoon appearances flying around him. The robot is spherical in shape and has a high-tech mechanical structure. There are 4 small propellers on its head and body to help it fly. Its face is a screen that shows its expression at the moment. It looks very artificially intelligent. At this moment, the 4 intelligent little robots made a sound of beep babbling, and the expression panels all showed angry expressions. Robot. A degree underscore A. Robot. A degree A micro A squared A. The antennas on the heads of the 4 robots condensed amazing currents at the same time. The tall gangster's eyes widened, and he suddenly had an ominous premonition. A zzzzzzzzzz A. 4 electric lights merged together, sparkling with intense sparks. Ooh. The tall gangster was shocked by the high voltage current and twitched on the spot, dancing on the spot. Rolling your eyes. Foaming at the mouth. Incontinence. It doesn't take more than a few seconds. The tall gangster fell down, and the entire body had turned into a smoking black charcoal, and its original appearance could no longer be seen at all. Other gangsters. This little girl is so powerful. Don't worry, there's another one. Another fat gangster was eyeing Xia Xiao again and his eyes lit up. This little girl looks weak, obedient and timid, so she must be the best to deal with. The fat gangster shouted and pounced on him from behind. Xia Xiao turned around and saw the fat gangster rushing towards her. She was so frightened that she turned pale and closed her eyes. Ah! Sure enough, this little girl is easy to deal with. The fat gangster grinned, however, when his fat hand stretched out and was about to catch Xia Xiao. The fat gangster felt as if his whole body suddenly stiffened and he became completely unable to move. How? What? The fat gangster looked at his hands in shock. His hand was still about 5 centimeters away from Xia Xiao. But it seems like I can never move forward an inch. Then, he saw his fingers, starting from the tips, being turned into wood bit by bit. The fat gangster opened his mouth wide, showing a horrified expression. He wanted to speak, but soon he discovered that even his throat smelled like wood. Gradually, he lost the ability to even make sounds. The skin of his arms gradually turned woody, the hair on his body gradually formed tender green buds. The fat gangster's consciousness disappeared at the last moment, but he could do nothing but watch his body turn into a piece of wood. Xia Xiao still closed her eyes tightly. After a while, she slowly moved her slender eyelashes and opened her eyes. Seeing the fat gangster turned into wood in front of her, the girl immediately breathed a sigh of relief and patted her chest. Huh. I was scared to death. Other gangsters. 15 minutes later. All the gangsters who were still alive were tied up together. Yi Zhe looked back at Xia Xiao and Gao Shenzhou. Are you two okay? Gao Shenzhou. It's okay. Xia Xiao. Of course it's okay. Quote. The tied-up bandit leader thought to himself. A 1st-level Zon realm, a 9th-level yellow realm, and an 8th-level yellow realm. What the hell are these monsters they encountered? Do all primary school students today have this kind of strength? Yi Zhe came to the gangster leader and rubbed the knife directly in front of his face. Where are the hostages you captured and the smuggled contraband? The gang leader still wanted to pretend to be stupid. What hostage? I don't know. State. Yi Zhe slapped him with the back of the knife, leaving a long red mark on the gangster leader's face and several teeth flying out on the spot. Stop beeping. Speak quickly. Gangster leader. Quote. In the green tent next to it. Yi Zhe listened to the words and looked at the green tent aside. He raised his hand with a straight sword and drew a sharp cold light that broke through the air. Tear. With a sound, the green tent was cut in half horizontally and scattered. There were more than a dozen tied-up hostages sitting in the camp. All of them looked horrified, and when they saw Yi Zhe, they quickly let out a woo-woo-woo sound. There were several sacks of soul crystals placed on the ground next to them. Soul crystal is a pink quality material in the game. It is quite precious and rare among the human race, and is an essential material for making secret medicine. Yi Zhe thought to himself that so many soul crystals were definitely not something gangsters like them who only had the strength of Huang realm could get. There is obviously a larger force organization behind them. Xia Xiao had already gone up to untie the hostages. Yi Zhe glanced at the gangster leader. Who is the financial backer behind you? The gangster leader smiled bitterly. I'm just a worker, how could I know? Before he finished speaking, Yesh raised the straight knife without saying a word and was about to swing it out again. The gangster leader quickly said, "No, no, no. I really don't know this time. Our boss never discloses his true identity when contacting us." Yi Jie slowly put down the straight knife and did not intend to ask any more questions. Their mission is just to investigate these gangsters. Now that the task has been completed, the interrogation does not fall within the scope of their tasks. That is what the night watchmen and law enforcement officers should do. Class 3 of the 4th grade, a 3-person team, Yi Jie, Gao Shenzhou, and Sha Xiao. A. Complete D-level mission. Investigate smuggling bandits and rescue hostages. Original E-level mission, the level has been changed. Task completion reward, 300 credits. After returning to school, Yesh submitted their tasks in the school's task hall. On the main screen, their task content is displayed. Many students in the hall, as well as some teachers and staff, immediately let out a series of exclamations. They are only in 4th grade and they have already completed a D-level mission. D-level mission, this should be at the junior high school level of difficulty, right? It's this Yi Jie again. I heard that during a class assignment, their class went to the wild to collect spiritual plants. As a result, they encountered thousands of strange beasts from the Yellow Realm. It was extremely dangerous. In the end, he killed them all by himself. Already. That is Yi Jie, the son of the Lord of Night City. Sigh, I can't believe that such a well-behaved and fair child is actually a demonized mutant. Yeah, it's such a pity. Why do you say it's a pity? You don't know, even if the children of demonized people have good grades, they will definitely be suppressed. They won't get much attention, and they won't get much training resources. This is an unspoken rule. Quote. Yi Jie, stop. A voice suddenly came. Yi Jie was about to go to dinner with Gao Shenzhou and Sha Xiao when he suddenly heard a cry from behind and turned around. At first glance, it turned out to be Zhang Xiaoming. Behind him were 2 classmates. Yi Jie glanced at him. Is something wrong? Hehe, I actually completed another D-level mission. It's really good. You are worthy of being my lifelong enemy. Zhang Xiaoming raised a wooden long sword, pointed at Yi Jie, and shouted, "Draw out the sword. This is the 308th time I challenge you. This time I will definitely defeat you in front of Shui." Quote. Yesh smiled bitterly. Next time, I'm not free today. Don't you look down on me. Zhang Xiaoming raised his sword and pointed at it, humming, "Let me tell you, this time is different from last time. This time I learned a new sword skill. My tutor said it was specially used to deal with you. As he said that, he looked at the classmates behind him. You too, you must also think that I can win, right? A little fat man put his big hand into the bag of potato chips, took out a large handful and stuffed it into his mouth, chewing it, shaking his head while chewing, and said in a naive voice, "No, I don't think you can beat Yi Jie." Zhang Xiaoming's face suddenly fell. To increase the popularity of others and destroy your own prestige. As a younger brother, how can you be so unsure of your elder brother? You are not my elder brother. Then do you still want to eat French fries, potato chips, burgers, fried chicken, and pistol legs? Think. Then what did you call me? Brother. Can I win? Abel, Yi Jie and Gao Shenzhou and Sha Xiao. You heard Yi Jie, they all think I can win, you will definitely lose today. Zhang Xiaoming hummed, pointing at Yi Jie with his wooden sword. Yi Jie sighed softly, then come. Where's your sword? It doesn't matter, just leave it like that. Zhang Xiaoming's eyes lit up. Then I won't be polite, let's see what you do. With that said, Zhang Xiaoming held a wooden sword and rushed towards Yesh, sword skill, phantom sword. Before he could finish speaking, Yi Jie casually raised his fingers. A dark crow flew out. The crow swooped over at extremely fast speed and hit Zhang Xiaoming's feet. Oops. Before Zhang Xiaoming finished shouting out the name of his moves, his body lost his balance and he fell down in front of Yi Jie with his face facing the ground. He gave him a 5-body prostrate gift. You are so despicable. Yi Jie had already turned around and walked away. Sha Xiao squatted in front of Zhang Xiaoming and stuck out her tongue. The 308th challenge failed, go back and work hard. Zhang Xiaoming. On the high platform. A middle-aged man who looked like a principal and another young male teacher stood here, watching from a distance. This Yi Zhe, is this the third time he has completed a D-level mission? The principal asked. Yes, Principal Zhang, the male teacher said. Elementary school can easily complete D-level tasks. With his strength, there is actually no problem in jumping directly to the junior high school. I even think that he is fully capable of entering the Zan Zan Academy. Elite department. The principal was silent for a moment, but he is from the demon family. The male teacher said quickly. Although Yej is from the demon family, this child has never done anything bad. He has always been a top student in terms of grades and can speak several languages of all ethnic groups. He is also an absolute genius in cultivation, and will always be number one in the school. Thousands of races are threatening him, and we need such talents. Principal Yang's face was expressionless, knowing people but not their hearts. It's one thing on the surface. Who knows what he thinks in his heart, not to mention he has a devil's heart. The male teacher was a little anxious. How could it be? He is still a child, how could he have so many bad intentions? Principal Zhang glanced at him. Then you were wrong. Children are the most evil-minded. The male teacher opened his mouth and was speechless. Teacher Zhang, I know that you are the martial arts teacher of their class. Principal Zhang said, I remember that he once injured you in the first grade martial arts class. That's because I asked him to use his full strength. It has nothing to do with him. Teacher Zhang said helplessly. Quote. Principal Zhang paused and said, forget it, I don't plan to do anything to him. Teacher Zhang breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this. Principal Zhang thought to himself that the Yi family is a demonized family. Although it has been suppressed overtly and covertly by other nobles in the empire, as well as many, well-known and decent, guilds, sects, and companies, it is still very powerful and has many powerful people. Those big nobles, big guilds, and sects could unite to target the Yi family, but he, the principal of the elementary school of a small branch, couldn't afford to offend such a behemoth. The imperial title rankings include Duke, Marquis, Uncle, Son, and Male. Although Viscount Yi Xiao is only the 4th level, he is still a noble after all. What's more, Yi Quan, the old man of the Yi family who has abdicated and gone into seclusion, is a strong man in the apocalypse realm. As long as he is alive, no one in the southern border will dare to do too much to the Yi family. Chapter 11. Yejia, a bright and airy room. Yi Zhe sat on the bed, closed his eyes, and concentrated on practicing. A dark crow stood on the bookcase in the room, preening its black feathers with its beak from time to time. The crimson eyes were like the most beautiful blood agate, sparkling brightly. Not long after, the black aura around Yi Zhe quickly entangled, like a vortex, began to spin, forming a storm. Boom! Suddenly, black light flashed and demonic energy surged. Another breakthrough. Xuanjing, the second stage. Congratulations, Lord Yej. The spirit of disaster standing on the bookcase made a low and deep voice, which was not like the voice of a bird at all, but like a calm gentleman. You broke through the mysterious world at the age of 10. You are the first human being in the 2nd level that I have seen in my life. Yi Zhe smiled and glanced at the spirit of disaster. You have never seen many human children in your life, right? The spirit of disaster was a little embarrassed. But I have seen a lot of them in my previous lives. The level of cultivation in this world, from low to high, is divided into 3 stages and 11 realm levels. The first stage, Huang, Zan, Earth, and Heaven. The second stage, 100 souls, 1,000 souls, Vientian, Shira. The third stage, Apocalypse, Holy Presence, Soul Emperor. Currently, the storyline of 10,000 races is still in version 1.15. Yi Zhe still clearly remembers that in this version, the strongest transcendent being in mankind is only the Holy Land. Moreover, the entire human race currently only has one strong person in the Holy Land. So in this version, the human race is only ranked 93rd among all races. The current human race not only has not yet had a strong person in the Soul Emperor realm, but even the technology tree has just begun to catch up with the civilization of all races. The combination of magic, spiritual power and other extraordinary powers with technology is still in the experimental stage. Extraordinary weapons such as magic cannons and psychic pulse cannons have not yet been developed. Human weapons mostly use conventional gunpowder. According to the plot of the original work, it would not be until decades later that the first strong human being to break through to the Soul Emperor realm would appear. That person is Gao Shenzhou. It was also Gao Shenzhou's invention, which completely opened the era of combining extraordinary and technology. As the boss, although Gao Shenzhou destroyed most of the human race in the plot, she also led the human race to a new era. Yi Zhe opened his system panel. Completed today's check-in. Sign in successfully. Obtained 20,000 human currency, 100 game exchange mall points. Congratulations, you have signed in for 3 years, a total of 1095 days. Unlock achievements. Hardcore player. Rewards obtained. 3 million human currency, 10,000 mall redemption points, Soul Crystal 100, Lucky Blind Box 100, Super Lucky Blind Box 5. Yi Zhe nodded with satisfaction. Not bad. 3 years of signing in have allowed him to save a lot of money and points. I looked at the balance in the inventory. Human currency, 137 million. Redeem mall points, 150,000 points. Lucky Blind Box 100. Super Lucky Blind Box 5. In the past 3 years, Yi Zhe has truly experienced the feeling of the game gone emperor. Keep doing daily tasks every day, as well as various random hidden tasks, achievement tasks, idle tasks. Perhaps the easiest of them is the idle task, because he is really forced to hang up in the game world 24 hours a day. In the past 3 years, through various tasks and sign-ins, in addition to getting money, he also got lucky blind boxes, which also allowed him to accumulate a lot of white, blue, purple, and pink props, materials, and equipment. What life restoration potions, cultivation potions, chi increasing pills, blood tonifying pills, soul stones, soul crystals, dragon leaf grass, and a lot of white equipment, blue equipment, purple equipment, pink equipment. The items in the system space warehouse are indeed a bit messy, with high-quality items, junk items, and everything in between. Yi Zhe feels that he can open a transcendent shopping mall. Then, Yi Zhe looked at the 100 new lucky blind boxes in his inventory today and rubbed his little hands in anticipation. Okay, it's time for the exciting unboxing session again. You open the lucky blind box. Obtain. Material, Soul Crystal 50 pink. You open the lucky blind box. Obtained. Weapon, Apprentice Magician's Cane white. You open the lucky blind box. Obtained. Item, Intermediate Cultivation Secret Medicine 10 blue. You open the lucky blind box. Obtained. Item, Small Dolly Pills 5 blue. Congratulations, you open the lucky blind box. Obtain. Talisman, Earth Talisman 1 red. Congratulations, you open the super lucky blind box. Obtained. Item, Learning Amplification Secret Potion 5 pink. 100 ordinary blind boxes were opened quickly. Yi Zhe sighed, feeling a little regretful. There are still only items of red quality at most. Since 3 years ago, when his novice gift package suddenly opened 3 gold coins, he has never released gold quality items again. 3 years. It really meets my expectations for domestic games. It's really stingy. However, if Yeji's inner thoughts were known to those adults, they would definitely not be able to help complaining. Red quality is basically only in the hands of the top 10 races in this world. You can't even buy it with money. What else do you want? Yi Zhe focused his attention on his remaining 5 super lucky blind boxes. The super lucky blind box, the thing that comes out is guaranteed to be at least pink. Yi Zhe took a deep breath. He pinned all his hopes on the last 5 blind boxes. Come on, the last 5. Congratulations, you opened the super lucky blind box. Get. Puppet Doll, Iron Fist Ghost Arm pink. Congratulations, you opened the super lucky blind box. Obtained. Item, The Best Spiritual Gathering Pill 10 red. Congratulations, you opened the lucky blind box. Obtain. Accessory Necklace, Tiandao Life Saving Lock red. Congratulations, you opened the super lucky blind box. Obtain. Immortal Cultivation Technique, Shengshi Soul Purification Technique golden. Congratulations, you opened the super lucky blind box. Obtain. Spiritual Pet Egg, White Blood Spirit gold. Yi Ji's eyes lit up. Finally, 1 pink, 2 red, 2 gold. Not bad. And he actually opened another spiritual pet egg. White blood spirit. I don't know what kind of spiritual pet will be hatched this time. As for another golden skill, Holy Soul Purification Technique, Yi Zhe remembered that it is the top skill for the immortal cultivator profession in the game. Using this method to practice can make one's own soul energy become more pure, condense the energy of the Holy Spirit, and the soul power nodes of the body will become stronger day by day. And as long as you practice one level, your lifespan will be greatly increased. Now, the ability to cultivate the immortal profession is also available. Yi Zhe opened the inventory and clicked on the 5 learning power increasing secret potions he had just obtained. Just in time, you can try to increase the learning ability value of the immortal cultivation profession to SSS level. Do you want to use the secret medicine immediately? Yes. Congratulations. Successful use. Quote. After using up the 5 secret medicines, there was still no failure. His professional talent for cultivating immortals has been upgraded to SSS level. In fact, it is not only the profession of cultivating immortals. Yi Zhe opened his properties panel. Martial arts profession. Learning ability value. 85 SSS level. Magic profession. Learning power value. 80 SSS level. Superpower profession. Learning power value. 83 SSS level. Cultivation profession. Learning ability value. 86 SSS level. Beast control profession. Learning power value. 89 SSS level. Supporting occupation. Learning ability value. 80 SSS level. Archer profession. Learning ability value. 82 SSS level. Mutation occupation. Learning ability value. 81 SSS level. Ghost controller occupation. Learning ability value. 81 SSS level. Machinist occupation. Learning ability value. 80 SSS level. Yi Zhe took a deep breath. After 3 years of working on check-ins and tasks, he finally raised all his learning ability values to over 80. Come to think of it, he should be the only human being in the world with full professional SSS level talent, right? Yi Zhe remembered that in the game before, he once met a Krypton Gold boss who recharged hundreds of thousands and purchased more than 100 learning potions at a high price. He almost consumed all the learning potions. I acquired it and want to improve the learning ability of one of my characters to SSS level. However, over 100 times, almost all of them failed, and only one succeeded, and that success only added 1 point of learning ability to his character. The Krypton Gold boss was so angry that he fainted and was admitted to the ICU that night. He was even on the news the next day. Yi Zhe thought to himself, if he could quit the game now, return to reality, and sell the account of such a top-notch character, he would probably be able to at least get a house in a top first-tier city, right? It's a pity that he can't change it. Can't exit either. In the past 3 years, Yi Zhe has long given up the idea of returning to the real world. Then, Yej opened the system's item space column and sorted out his item space. After 3 years of accumulation, his item space warehouse is filled with various white, blue, purple, pink, and red quality reward products, props, materials, and equipment. But now there are really too many, to the point of saturation. Every time he wanted to find something, it would take him a long time just to look through it, although it sounded a bit Versailles to say that. And most of the things he couldn't use for the time being. For example, Soul Crystal. In the past 3 years, he has stored more than 1,000 yuan in his item space. Yi Zhe estimated that even the resource warehouse of the Duke's Palace wouldn't be able to produce so much. There are also special secret cultivation medicine. Yej has also prescribed more than 100 bottles. This kind of thing can only be used after reaching the 100 soul realm, and Yej is still very early. Even this red quality excellent spirit gathering pill Yej can't use so much now. Just eating one of this kind of thing is enough to increase his basic training speed tenfold within a year. Eat more. It cannot be stacked, so it cannot be used for the time being. Yi Zhe couldn't easily give this thing to the adults at home, or Shuye and Xiao. The current situation of the Yi family is that within the family alone, there are many spies and spies planted by other nobles. There are many people and many eyes, and foreign enemies are watching every change of the Yi family's supplies, especially the red quality supplies. It is no joke. Even elementary school students should understand the principle of holding a treasure in its hands. Yej looked at a lot of items in the warehouse and suddenly had a bold idea. Yej's previous identity in the game world of 10,000 races was that he was the only top-level player in the top 10 rankings of the world server who did not charge money, and the first top-level operator to defeat many ancient bosses in civilian clothes. World Forum. Many players on the internet know him. But in fact, he was in the game, and Yej had another account and another identity, which the players on the forum probably didn't know at the time. That is the resource merchant, who secretly controls the resources of the entire game world in the game. To put it simply, it is to use monopoly, hoarding, and acquisition methods to control the prices of various materials, props, equipment, weapons, and various resources in the game world, and then buy and sell them to make profits. Well, to put it simply, it is deeply hated by many players, an evil studio and a capitalist in the game. The business system and trading system in the game are very real and have many similarities with the real business environment. At that time, there were many studios engaged in material business in the game, and many players even regarded this as a serious job. Some people could even buy cars and houses in reality with the money earned from buying and selling in the game. In his previous life, Yi Jie was the man behind a certain well-known studio in the game. However, all the money he earned through the studio in his previous life was used to exchange for RMB, so his large number has always been that of an ordinary civilian. Dress up and maintain the ceiling of civilian technical flow, personality. So when Yej saw so many materials in the warehouse, he suddenly had an idea. Maybe, in this world, we can make money by manipulating the market just like we did when we played games in our previous life. Yi Jie opened the auction house panel of the system, and after screening the items in his item space, he threw all the temporarily unused items to the auction house with a wave of his hand. The system's auction house will automatically help him consign it to the Human Alliance's top transcendent auction center. As long as it is sold, Yi Jie will receive monetary rewards. Yi Jie looked at the 10 top-grade spirit gathering pills, pondered for a moment, and then threw 2 of them on the auction house. As for the sales price, Yej filled in the unit price, 999,999,999. This price is actually a premium. Although the best red quality of the best spiritual gathering pill is precious, its real value is not worth so much money. At most, only 500 to 600 million imperial coins would be enough. But Yi Jie still wanted to test it out. In the human empire, most people would rarely have the opportunity to see red quality items a few times in their lives, let alone own them. So, maybe someone with a lot of money will place an order. Yi Jie clicked publish. Auction items released successfully. Of course, he posted it anonymously, and others could only see his username and nickname, Black Angel. Yej used his exclusive system to consign it to the auction center, and he didn't worry about being inquired about the source. Looking at his empty inventory, Yej nodded with satisfaction. Well, this way, it looks much neater. When these things are sold, he will have more principal, which can be used to control the resource market of various natural materials and treasures in the human empire. To know which materials, equipment, and props will increase in price and which will decrease in price in future game versions, he remembers them clearly. Yi Jie showed the face of a dark capitalist and smiled secretly. After solving the inventory, Yi Jie looked at the 150,000 game redemption points he had saved over the past 3 years. This number seems like a lot. In fact, the redemption mall of this game is simply not something people can afford to redeem. Yi Jie opened the list of exchange malls. Weapon. Huyi's bow. Quality. God grade. Price. 50W exchange for mall points. Introduction. Huyi used this bow to shoot down the 9 suns. However, the bowstring is slightly worn. Weapon. Poseidon's trident. Quality. God grade. Price. 50W redeemable for mall points. Introduction. The weapon of Poseidon, the god of the sea. Legend has it that he once used this trident to split mountains and turn rocks into islands. However, one of the prongs is missing a small corner. Weapon. Thor's hammer. Quality. God grade. Price. 80W exchange mall points. Introduction. Thor's war hammer contains amazing thunder and lightning power. Item. Taishang Laojun's 9 turns elixir. Quality. God grade. Price. 1 million exchange mall points. Introduction. The Monkey King personally tasted the same product, and taking one can increase your lifespan by 1,000 years. But it's actually Laojun's failed work when he was young. Contracted undead. Ghost and God Caillou. Quality. God grade. Price. 300W exchange mall points. Introduction. After signing a contract with the undead, you can use the ghost control technique to awaken the ghosts and gods of Caillou, known as the god of war, to fight for him. Skill. Tathagata Divine Palm. Quality. God grade. Price. 1000W redeemed for mall points. Introduction. It is said that the great sage Kishan was suppressed by this slap for 500 years. No god-level items can be found in blind boxes. Yesh read a few pages, and the more he read, the more he felt like he was vomiting blood. He was speechless and choked, so he simply closed the panel. This is totally cheating. Even the cheapest one requires at least 500,000 redemption points to redeem. Even he, a hardcore player who has been checking in and doing tasks every day for 3 years, can't see the end. The game planning didn't even think about making it affordable for players to redeem it, right? Yi Zhe breathed out. It's a pity that he has opened so many blind boxes in the past 3 years, but he has never opened any higher quality weapons. The straight knife I am using now is nothing more than a purple quality piece of excessive equipment. In the extraordinary mall in the human realm, you can only buy pink quality weapons at most, and they are basically low-grade pink weapons. He couldn't afford to exchange it for a god-level weapon now. We can only wait and see. Click, click. At this time, the white spiritual pet egg that he had just placed aside suddenly started to move. Yi Zhe looked back and raised his eyebrows. Oh. Did it hatch so soon? Where am I? The white-blooded spirit woke up from a chaotic consciousness. Am I dead? It seems that he is not dead. But what's going on with this body? Yi Zhe looked at the white kitten that slowly crawled out of the spiritual pet egg. It was less than the size of a fist, had not yet fully opened its eyes, and had 2 fluffy tails, and touched it thoughtfully. Jaw. This time, it's a cat. The double tails, the holy snow magic pattern on the tail velvet, and the blood ruby-colored pupils. Well, you can't be wrong. From Yeji's point of view as a hardcore player of the game, 10,000 races, this should be a 2-tailed snow civet. The potential is definitely no less than that of the disaster spirit. They all also have the potential to reach the Soul Emperor realm. Yi Zhe picked up a knife and cut his finger, then tapped a drop of blood on the kitten's forehead. With the injection of essence and blood, a contract mark appeared and then disappeared on the little kitten's forehead. White blood spirit gradually opened his eyes. Her memories slowly come back. She is the empress of the spirit demon clan. More than 10 years ago, the spirit demon tribe and the blood tribe started a war. The spirit demon tribe was defeated miserably and the city of 10,000 demons fell. At the cost of giving up all her cultivation, she got the chance to be reincarnated with her memories. Bai Shuiling gradually felt the warm feeling on his forehead. She knew very well that it felt like carving a mark of contract with someone. After setting a contract mark, the other party will become her master in this life, and she can never disobey the other party's orders. Otherwise, you will be punished by your soul. White blood spirit tried his best to open his eyelids, and vaguely finally saw clearly the person in front of him who had made a contract mark with him. It's actually a human being. Moreover, white blood spirit also felt a trace of terrifying demonic aura in his body. He is actually a demonized mutant boy. And the taste of this blood is extremely special. At least it's a demon king level bloodline. Woo. The white blood spirit felt extremely wronged and despaired in his heart. As the empress of the spirit demon tribe, white blood spirit has come into contact with many humans in her previous life, and has never looked down upon many of the human race's behaviors. With a lifespan of tens of thousands of years in her previous life, she can be said to have witnessed the development history of the human race. She is well aware of human greed, despicability, selfishness, and nastiness. Before the War of All Races, the human race was already in constant internal strife. For a little profit, they would not hesitate to betray their own kinsmen and kill their closest relatives. For the sake of face, their emperor could launch a war and put thousands of Don people in dire straits. Not to mention demonized people. After demonization, human beings are even more violent in nature. Despicable and insidious, cruel and terrifying. They do things by any means. It is no exaggeration to use all the darkest words in the world to describe them. Unexpectedly, the opportunity to be reincarnated, which was finally obtained, turned into a contracted spiritual pet of a demonized mutant at the beginning. If I had known this, it would be better to die on the battlefield of all races. Yi Zhe looked at the little civet that had just hatched and felt a little strange. After the spirit of disaster came out of the eggshell, after absorbing the power of his essence and blood, it immediately had the ability to take care of itself, and could fly to his shoulders and interact with his fingers. Why is this little civet cat, also a gold-level spiritual pet, so listless as soon as it is born? It looks aggrieved. Crow. At this time, Calamity also flapped its wings and flew over, landing on Yej's shoulder. His red blood pupils curiously observed the young snow civet. Yi Zhe glanced at it and asked, "When you were born, you seemed to be much more lively than her. Why does this little guy seem to be depressed as soon as he was born?" "Well, it's normal." Crow raised his wings and shook his shoulders. Different spiritual pets are born with different physiques. Some spiritual pets are relatively weak when they are born and need careful care from their owners. It will basically be no problem after entering the growth stage. Yeah, no wonder. Yi Zhe looked at the little civet looking wilted. I wonder if I am hungry. Yi Zhe pondered for a moment and took out a bottle of milk specially designed for spiritual pets from his own system space. Item: pure milk of the colorful sacred cow. Quality: red. Attributes: after eating, growth potential plus 999, growth talent plus 999, growth and cultivation speed plus 300%. The effect of eating spiritual beasts in the juvenile stage is doubled. Introduction. The milk produced by the colorful sacred cow, a sacred animal, only produces 1 liter for hundreds of years. Drink it and cherish it. White blood spirit lay on the table pretending to be depressed, secretly glancing at Yi Zhe. Not to mention, this demonized human boy is pretty good looking. Even though she is young, her facial features are exquisite and almost perfect, and her eyes are clear and pure, just like a young Shota who stepped out of an anime. When he grows up, he will definitely be a very handsome and hateful man who will attract thousands of girls. HMPH, so what if he looks good? What kind of good person can a guy with such strong demon blood be? I will not be deceived by your pure appearance. Even if you make a contract and you can get my body, you will never get my true heart. I will never call you master. White blood spirit thought so in his heart. She planned to just throw it away, pretending to be depressed and sick, so that Yej would think she was a useless spiritual pet, so that Yej would abandon her on his own initiative. Only in this way can she have a chance to be free. After all, she gave up her lifelong cultivation and was reborn to revive the spirit demon clan, regain her strength, and take revenge on the blood clan. How could he be a meowing little pet next to a little human boy? At this time, Yi Zhe brought a colorful bottle to the kitten's mouth. Bai Shuilin was startled for a moment, and sniffed lightly with his small nose. This taste, it's actually the milk of the colorful sacred cow. You know, that is the mythical beast known as Tianling Continent. Even as the empress of the spirit demon clan in her previous life, it was difficult to get one. The little human boy in front of me looks like he is only 7 or 8 years old. Where did you get the milk of the colorful sacred cow? Bai Shuiling smelled the smell of the colorful milk in the bottle, and his mood suddenly became tangled. From the mouth of the small bottle, the sweet and delicious smell of milk comes out, which is fragrant and attractive. HMPH, I am the empress of the spirit demon clan, will I be bought off by you with a bottle of milk? Quote. Quote. Chirp, 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 zilliu, zilliu. Zilu, zilu. Bai Shuiling's eyes suddenly lit up and his face was filled with excitement. Drink it well. Yi Zhe looked at the little civet lying in his arms, slurping milk, and couldn't help but feel a little confused. How can such a young civet eat so much? And why did you suddenly become so energetic? No more drinking. Yi Zhe took the little bottle away and patted the little civet on the head. You are still too young. If you continue to eat, you will be able to hold on. Meow wow. The little white cat raised its head, purred, and looked at Yi Zhe with a somewhat resentful look. White Blood Spirit thought to himself, this little human shot must have done it on purpose. You have already been fed, so why not feed me to my fullest? To whet my appetite. Hateful. Knock knock knock. At this time, there was a knock on the door outside the room. The voice of young mother Zhou Yuqing sounded. Xiao Yezh, Xiao came to play with you, aren't you still sleeping in? Yi Zhe walked over and opened the door. Outside the door, Xia Xiao was dressed like a little princess today, with long brown hair, tied in a French braid, a black and white dress, snow-white pantyhose, and black leather shoes. The attire was very elegant. At first glance, she was the daughter of a noble and wealthy family. Picture. Yi Zhe. Xiao Qingmei turned around in front of Yi Zhe. Do I look good today? Yi Zhe looked up and down and nodded heartily. Yeah, it looks good. Hee hee. Xia Xiao looked very happy. Zhou Yuqing looked at the two children and said with a smile, I'll ask my servants to cut fruit for you. You can play slowly. After that, she went out. Yi Zhe looked at Xia Xiao and asked strangely, why are you here today? Xia Xiao pursed her lips. Today is the weekend, can't I come to you and play with Shui? Yes, yes. Yi Zhe was silent for a moment, but our Yi family is a demonized family. If you run to our Yi family's territory every day, won't your father have any objections? My dad doesn't care about boring things like that. Xia Xiao hummed and walked into the house with her hands behind her back. At this time, she suddenly saw the white blood spirit lying on the table in the room. Ah! Xia Xiao ran over excitedly and picked up the white blood spirit. White blood spirit. Bai Shui was so frightened that the white hair on his body exploded. He wanted to run away, but it was too late. Xia Xiao held the little civet in her arms and rubbed the cat's face hard with her cheek. The white-blooded spirit struggled in her arms, but couldn't get away no matter what. Song of the night. Ah, ah, she's so soft, and she smells so good. Xia Xiao happily hugged the little civet. Yi Zhe, is this your new spiritual pet? Yi Zhe. Well, that's right, although I didn't buy it. Xia Xiao hugged the white blood spirit, and the more she looked at it, the more she liked it. She hugged and kissed her, and ravaged her fiercely in her arms. The white blood spirit struggled desperately, and the little civet cat's face was very frightened. What does this little human girl want to do? Her eyes are so beautiful, and she has two tails. Xia Xiao grabbed the white blood spirit and played with the two fluffy little tails behind her buttocks. Then he showed a regretful expression. It's a pity that I don't have the talent of a beast master, otherwise I would have asked my dad to buy me a spiritual pet to play with. Yi Zhe said strangely. Even if you don't have the talent of a beast master, if you don't expect it to help fight and just play with it, you can still raise it. Xia Xiao stuck out her tongue. I'd better forget it. I raised several small turtles in the past and they were all killed by me. I haven't found a spiritual pet with stronger vitality than the turtle yet. Song of the night. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, Yezh, you are a beast master. Even if I can't raise a little spiritual pet, I can still come to your house often to play with your spiritual pet. Xia Xiao said with a smile. When White Blood Spirit heard this, his big round eyes immediately widened even more. Often, the spirit of disaster stood on the bookcase nearby and sighed quietly. It seems that cute spiritual pets are more popular with girls. That's right, I heard that after the little civet enters the growth stage, it can transform into a cat girl, right? Xia Xiao raised her little head and looked at Yi Zhe and asked. Yi Zhe pondered for a moment and nodded slightly. Well, this type of civet cat does have the potential to transform into a humanoid cat lady. Great. Xia Xiao became even happier, holding the cat in her arms and sucking it hard a few more times. When she can transform into a cat girl Lolita, I can change her clothes every day. Song of the night. Good guy. Dress up. This is using the spirit beast as a living doll. Yi Zhe felt a little dumbfounded. He seemed to understand why Xia Xiao couldn't keep a little spirit pet alive every time. There are probably very few spiritual pets in the world who can withstand this little girl's enthusiasm. White Blood Spirit wants to cry but has no tears. This emperor is the majestic empress of the spirit demon clan, a powerful soul emperor who has been dictatorial for eternity. Now it has become a plaything in the hands of human little girls, and it will become a dress-up doll in the future. Woo, so insulting, meow. Sha Xiao sucked the little civet for a while longer before reluctantly putting it down. After all, he is Yeji's spiritual pet. If Xiaojuma's spiritual pet cannot bear her deep love and passion and is spoiled by her and dies, she will die of guilt. That's right. Xiao Qingmei blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Zhe. Yi Zhe, do you know what day it is today? Yi Zhe wondered. Today. He thought for a moment, but couldn't remember. How come you can forget everything? Sha Xiao pursed her lips. So what day is it today? Well, let's go find Shui first. This little girl is actually cheating on him. Yi Zhe then felt his hand being pulled by Sha Xiao and ran out. The two little ones trotted along the corridor one after the other. Soon we arrived at Gao Fenzu's room. Different from Gao Shenzu's cold personality, her room is cartoony and cute, which is in great contrast with herself. The walls are entirely made of stacked Lego, and various flying toy robots are in cartoon style, flying around the room. Yi Zhe thought to himself that it was hard to imagine that this was the same character as the crazy female inventor who created the nano-insect chaos, in the future, destroyed countless city-states and civilizations, and single-handedly built the city of the future. Of course, Sha Xiao, who now looks like a little angel, cannot imagine that she will grow into such a cold-blooded and ruthless female devil of chaos in the future. It can only be said that different growth opportunities will really change a person's life trajectory. In the game plot, there is no detailed description of Sha Xiao's growth experience. I don't know what she went through to become like that. 10-year-old Gao Shenzu was sitting in front of a computer. With a cold appearance, she was wearing cute pajamas with cartoon patterns and a high ponytail, typing on the keyboard with calm eyes. Picture. 3 large display screens made of Lego hung on the wall in front of her. Countless codes and data were scrolling on the screen. The computer host was connected to a lot of lines and connected to a huge technological device. Shui, Sha Xiao happily ran up to Gao Shenzu and kissed her. The two little girls have known each other for such a long time and have become best friends. Yesh walked in and saw 2 little girls whispering something in their ears, and suddenly felt helpless. We are all childhood sweethearts who grew up together. Are you still trying to avoid me? Isn't that too unreasonable? The 2 little girls seemed to have finally finished whispering. Gao Shenzu looked at Yi Zhe and said, Xiao Yi, close your eyes. Ah, Yi Zhe looked confused. Why are you closing your eyes? Oh, just close your eyes first and then talk. Sha Xiao ran over, got behind Yi Zhe, stretched out her 2 small hands to cover his eyes. Yi Zhe didn't know what the 2 of them wanted to do. After a while, I heard Sha Xiao say, get ready, 3, 2, 1, ding ding ding. The little hand covering his face was released. Yesh opened his eyes, and found that the robot car in front of him slowly opened, with a large cake inside, and the cartoon robots flying around him. His face **** expression was hung on the screen, and the familiar happy birthday song was playing. Only then did Yi Zhe remember that today was his birthday. In other words, it should be the birthday of Yi Zhe in this world. Gao Shenzu stretched out her little hand and pinched his cheek gently. Why don't you even remember your birthday? Yi Zhe, I didn't expect you guys remember it quite clearly. Gao Shenzu said with serious eyes. Of course, what mother would forget her child's birthday? Song of the night. This little girl, do you still remember? I don't know if when she grows up in the future, when she thinks about what she said when she was a child, she will feel that society is dead. Although, Yi Zhe still felt quite touched. In the previous life, Yi Zhe was a person who lacked a sense of ritual and never celebrated his birthday in a serious manner. He kept saying that he didn't care about this kind of day, and just ate a cake and longevity noodles every time and passed by hastily. When I became an adult, I gradually stopped eating cake. But in fact, it was also because no friend had ever taken the initiative to celebrate his birthday, so of course it was boring. At most, his parents would wish him a happy birthday. Sha Xiao brought a crown and put it on Yesh, and then asked Yesh to make a wish in front of the cake. Yi Zhe smiled bitterly in his heart. Since he was 15 years old in his previous life, He had never made a wish on his birthday, and he never believed in birthday wishes again. But today, he closed his eyes and made a wish seriously. After making her wish, Xia Xiao blinked and asked curiously, Yej, what wish did you make? Gao Shenzhou looked at her. Wouldn't it be useless to say this kind of thing? That's right, Xia Xiao added. Yes, Shuiye and I prepared a gift for you together. Oh, Yi Zhe didn't expect there was a gift. Gao Shenzhou picked up a remote control and pressed it lightly. The huge technological equipment in the room slowly opened. What catches the eye are two weapons with special shapes. One is a black cyber straight knife full of technological texture. One is a silver cyber sword with the same technological texture. Yi Zhe was a little surprised. This is the gift you prepared for me. Hee, yes. Xia Xiao stuck out her tongue playfully. This is made by Shuiye herself, but the materials are provided by me. I spent the pocket money I saved over the year to buy it. Pluto steel. Yi Zhe secretly sighed. Shadow steel is a pink quality extraordinary material in the game. It is priced by kilogram, and the price per kilogram is at least 1 million. To have enough shadow steel to make these two weapons, the price must be at least tens of millions, maybe even more. She is really a rich and aristocratic woman who has been pampered since she was a child. Yi Zhe picked up the two straight knives and the long sword. Compared with ordinary weapons, the biggest advantage of this kind of technological cyber weapon is that it can be charged and has its own attribute attack. It is also one of Gao Shenzhou's most representative inventions. The most common technological cyber sword on the market is retractable, easy to carry, and comes with a soul energy battery. As long as you turn on the switch on the handle, you can enchant the blade with thunder-based soul power, making the weapon more offensive. Of course, there are also versions with fire attributes, ice attributes, dark attributes, various attributes. As the strongest human mechanic in 10,000 races, Gao Shenzhou's craftsmanship goes without saying. In fact, Gao Shenzhou is also a rich woman. Although she was left by her mother in the Yi family, she has never used a penny from the Yi family since she was 7 years old. In elementary school, Gao Shenzhou had already shown a super high IQ and a strong talent as a mechanical inventor. Many of the mechanical technologies she manufactures have considerable commercial value, and she has her own machinist account online. Even the technological retractable standard fixed blades and soul energy beam pistols used by night watchmen and law enforcement officers in various human city-states on the market are all her anonymous works. Every year when night watchmen and law enforcement officers want to buy standard fixed blades and guns, they need to place orders online and come to her to buy them. Because the standard weapons she manufactures are affordable, easy to maintain, highly durable and cost-effective. The night watchman probably couldn't imagine that the person who wholesaled fixed knives and guns for them would be a 10-year-old girl. Including the many mechanical bombs, self-destructing robots, technological grenades, and detection drones she manufactures, they are also popular products. Whether online or in the Transcendent Shopping Mall in Asia City, the sales volume has always been ranked among the weapons rankings. Forefront. So of course Gao Shenzhou has never been short of money. In addition to the shadow steel, I also added some nanometals during the forging of these two weapons. Gao Shenzhou said softly. The straight sword is named Shadow Moon and the long sword is named Guangli. When Yi Zhe heard this, his eyes flashed slightly. Shadow Moon, Guangli, aren't these the two most mysterious red quality weapons that appeared in the Terran Empire in the early version of the game? In the background introduction of the game, the origins of these two weapons are very mysterious. They are the first and second high-end extraordinary cyber weapons in human history that combine extraordinary power with the power of technology. In the background information, it was only said that they were weapons made by a mysterious blacksmith from the Empire for his childhood sweetheart. Later, these two weapons disappeared and were out of print and their whereabouts were unknown. They only appeared again after version 4.75. Unexpectedly, this mysterious person turned out to be Gao Shenzhou. Yesh picked up the two weapons, and a transparent attribute panel box popped up in front of him. Weapon. Shadow Moon, straight knife. Level. No usage level restrictions. Attributes can be improved as the user's strength increases. Quality. Red. Attributes. Sharpness 195, toughness 180, strength 253. Soul power battery status. 100%. Effects. 1. Can charge dark attribute soul power and obtain dark attribute attacks. 2. When the attack hits, 10% of the target's MP value will be absorbed to replenish itself. Special attributes. Contains the friendship and love of childhood, weapon luck plus 99. When this equipment is strengthened and enchanted, the success rate increases 30 times. Weapon. Guangli long sword. Level. No usage level restrictions. Attributes can be improved as the user's strength increases. Quality. Red. Attributes. Sharpness 203, toughness 257, strength 149. Soul power battery status. 100%. Effects. 1. Can charge light attribute soul power and obtain light attribute attack. 2. When the attack hits, 10% of the target's HP will be absorbed to replenish itself. Special attributes. Contains the friendship and love of childhood, weapon luck plus 99. When this equipment is strengthened and enchanted, the success rate increases 30 times. Yi Jie couldn't help but marvel in her heart. Ghost steel is just a pink quality material in the game. Gao Shenzhou used pink quality extraordinary materials to actually create red quality weapons. What a genius indeed. Yej itself has the talent of the soul of the weapon spirit. In other words, he can use these two red quality weapons as gold quality weapons. And what concerned him even more was the special attribute of the last item. As a player of the game, Yi Jie knows very well what it means to increase the success rate of strengthening and enchanting a weapon by 30 times. You know, when the weapon is strengthened to plus 10 stars or above, if it fails, the weapon will be directly damaged. Commonly known as, the weapon exploded. Therefore, most people do not dare to enhance two precious weapons to plus 11 stars or above. Because that would involve risking the use of a weapon worth tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. After strengthening by plus 10 stars, the success rate of strengthening the weapon is only 15%. Each time it is strengthened, the probability of success for the next strengthening will be minus 3%. Keep dropping until the success rate is only 1%. But now, Yi Jie has a 30 times enhancement success rate. In other words, before strengthening to plus 15 stars, the strengthening success rate of these two weapons is above 100%. In Yej's view, such attribute effects are, to a certain extent, even more powerful than some golden quality weapons. Moreover, these are two weapons that can be upgraded as the user's strength increases. Yi Jie took a deep breath. He just needs a good weapon now. He didn't expect that these two childhood sweethearts of his would bring him such a surprise, not to mention giving him pillows when they were sleeping. Gao Shenzhou said. In fact, the handle ends of the two weapons can be connected together to form a long weapon, which can be used in different combat situations. After Yi Jie heard the words, he immediately tried it and found a mechanical switch on the handle. Kacha kacha. The mechanical axles on the handles of the two weapons rotated, and the handles began to change shape. Finally, the two weapons were connected together and merged into a bipolar long blade nearly 2 meters long. Such a long weapon is a bit too early for Yej, who is only 10 years old. However, this weapon is mechanical and can be retracted. It can be reduced to the length that Yi Jie can use now. Thank you, I like it very much. Yi Jie reached out and touched the hair of the two girls. Hee, as long as you like it. Sha Xiao said happily. Shui and I have been discussing it for a long time, just because I'm afraid you won't like it. Although these two weapons have not been professionally appraised, Shui personally made them, so I think they will definitely be pink quality weapons. Yi Jie thought to herself, it's really not pink. However, it is a higher quality red than pink. Generally speaking, in the game world of 10,000 races, it is normal to use pink quality extraordinary materials to create purple quality weapons. Being able to create weapons of the same pink quality means one is a master of craftsmanship. Using pink quality materials to create red quality weapons, even the best blacksmith in the south. No, even the best weapon blacksmith in the human race would probably be almost impossible to do it. Yi Jie, that's right. I have a gift for you too. Sha Xiao's eyes lit up. Really? You also prepared gifts for us? Yi Jie took out 2 top-grade spirit gathering pills. What is this? Sha Xiao took one of them and asked innocently. Spirit gathering pill. Yi Jie smiled faintly. It can help you increase your cultivation speed. Sha Xiao was still too young and didn't even know what the spirit gathering pill was. She just felt happy to receive Yi Ji's gift. Gao Shenzhou looked at the two spirit gathering pills, but his eyes flashed slightly. As a super female academic since elementary school, she naturally recognizes the spirit gathering pill. And she immediately saw that these two pills were not ordinary spirit gathering pills. Both spirit gathering pills are engraved with beautiful pill patterns and exude a faint red halo. It is a rare red quality spiritual gathering pill that is rare in a century. Logically speaking, it is impossible to sell this kind of top quality red quality spirit gathering pill on the market. In thousands of years, it has only appeared once in the top auctions of the human race. That time, the top-grade spirit gathering pill that appeared was finally purchased by a top family powerhouse in the capital, and sold for a high price of 700 million. A kid like Yi Jie, even if he is the young master of a demonized family, there is no way to get him. Gao Shenzhou couldn't help but feel a little confused. Where did Yi Jie get this top-quality spirit gathering pill? And there are still two. But there is one thing I want to remind you. Yi Jie said seriously. After you take this spirit gathering pill back, eat it as soon as possible and never let adults see it. Do you understand? Yeah, I understand. Sha Xiao said obediently without asking why. Then, the three of them ate birthday cake together. As they ate, they started to play naughtily. Sha Xiao laughed and spread the cream on Yi Ji's face. Ha ha ha, Xiao Yi, you are so ugly. Yi Jie looked at Sha Xiao's innocent and cute smile, and suddenly felt that it would be good to be a child for a while. HMPH, how dare you laugh at me? Yi Jie also grabbed a handful of cream and threw it towards Sha Xiao without any courtesy. Ah, I was wrong. Ah, don't apply it here, it's so itchy. Shui, save me. Quote. After a rough fight, Sha Xiao's clothes were askew, her hair was messy, she was sitting on the ground like a duck, and her body was covered in cream. Yi Jie and Gao Shenzhou also had a lot of cream on their faces, but overall it was still not as much as Sha Xiao's. After playing until night, Sha Xiao reluctantly went home at the urging of her father's phone call. After sending Sha Xiao away, Gao Shenzhou stretched out his finger and poked Yi Ji's cheek. Where did you get those two top-quality spirit-gathering pills? Quote. Yi Jie didn't expect Gao Shenzhou to be so well informed at such a young age. She is indeed a terrifying female top student. The ultimate spirit-gathering pill. Don't pretend to be stupid, even Uncle Yi can't get this kind of red-quality elixir. As expected, Miyuki Mama is well informed. I can't hide anything from you. Yi Jie made a very serious expression at this time and deliberately lowered his voice. Okay, I can tell you, but you have to do it for me. Keep it a secret, this is a very serious secret. Can't you even tell Sister Yuqing and Xiao? Of course. Okay. Gao Shenzhou also came closer, with a serious expression. Yi Jie leaned against her ear and whispered, I am actually a time traveler. I didn't belong to this world originally. I was a destined person who came to this world with a golden finger. Quote. Gao Shenzhou was silent for a long time after hearing this, and glanced at him. Why have you become as childish as Zhang Xiaoming? Yi Jie shrugged. Sometimes, that's it. Tell the truth, but no one wants to believe it. Yasen City, 9-star Transcendent Auction House. Qian Zhenglai, the president of Yasen City Auction House, a middle-aged man who looks very wealthy wearing gold-rimmed glasses, is sitting in his office at this time. He was holding a list of items newly put on the auction house this month, showing an extremely astonished expression. What on earth is it? Yesterday, a mysterious seller sent 1,000 soul crystals and more than 100,000 soul stones through consignment auction. Even Yasen City's city-state treasury probably doesn't have so many soul crystals. So when Qian Zhenglai saw the list of auction items and the quantity column, he thought he had seen it wrong. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Are these soul crystals genuine? Has it been tested? In the past, there were some crooked auctioneers who processed ordinary crystals, polished them, coated them with paint, injected weak soul energy, faked them to look like soul crystals, and then tried to sell them in the auction house. So Qian Zhenglai now has to be careful about whether there is a risk of fake goods. A young subordinate said seriously. After testing, the energy purity of all soul crystals has reached the TCC value standard stipulated by the Empire Federation Transcendent Association. They are absolutely genuine. Qian Zhenglai frowned. Who is this seller? Young subordinate. I don't know, the seller's information is anonymous, and these auction items are consigned through a magic teleportation lens. This mysterious seller only left a username and nickname called Black Angel. Black Angel. Qian Zhenglai pondered for a while and then said, "Show me all the auction lists of consignments from this mysterious seller." Young subordinate. Yes, soon. The young subordinate handed over a list. Qian Zhenglai took the list and flipped through it casually, his pupils widening again. Special secret cultivation medicine, pink quality, 30 bottles. Huang Ling Sao, pink quality, 100 plants. Small spirit gathering pills, purple quality, 1,000 pieces. Advanced life potion, purple quality, 300 bottles. Soul crystal, pink quality, 1,000 pieces. Soul stone, blue quality, 100,000 pieces. Quote. Qian Zhenglai was horrified to see it. When I flipped through the list again, I took a deep breath. The best spirit gathering pill, red quality, 2 pieces. Red quality. Qian Zhenglai stopped breathing. He has been a businessman since he was 20 years old, and has been the president of the Yasen City Auction House for 15 years. This is the first time he has seen a red quality auction item on the list. Who is this seller with the ID name, Black Angel? The next day, as soon as the auction list of this top auction was made public on the internet, it quickly attracted the attention of powerful people, bosses, and nobles from all sides in Yasen City. The presidents of major extraordinary guilds, the bosses of major chaebol companies, the heads of major sects and families. There are also many deans of extraordinary famous schools, Taoist, Confucian and other companies, directors of night watchmen, demon hunters, and high-ranking people from all walks of life. They are all extremely surprised and shocked. This is the first time that red quality products have appeared in the Yasen City Auction House. And it was 2 at a time. Even many nobles from other city-states in the south were attracted by the auction in Yasen City. At the same time, it seems that there are employees of the auction house who secretly took photos of the auction listings with cameras and posted them online. It immediately caused an uproar of discussion on the internet. Shocked, the 9-star auction house in Yakung suddenly discovered a red quality rare treasure. On the internet, this matter also ranked first on the microwave topic list. It even surpassed the topic of Grandmaster Ma Tongxun versus Grandmaster Wang Wanda in terms of popularity. There is no way, red quality rare treasures are really rare in the human world. Although it is impossible for ordinary people at the bottom to participate in the auctions of such upper-class bosses, discussing the major events that happen in the circles of these powerful people at the upper level every day is also a very popular discussion topic for ordinary people at the bottom after dinner. This is the first time in my life that I have seen an exotic treasure of red quality. When is the auction going to be held? I want to go there and see it. Idiot, this is an online auction, where is the site? Even if there is a site, how can a little person like you get in? Who do you think this big boss is who releases red quality products? Don't even think about it, it's either a big noble in the imperial court, or that mysterious genetic company, or else, it can only be a super sect of some immortal cultivator. But the price of this auction, 999,999,999, that's 1 billion. Isn't this price too insincere? It's not red quality equipment, it's just a red pill, 1 billion. Who would buy this elixir? You know what the heck, this is the best spirit gathering pill. The effect of taking 1 pill is enough to increase your cultivation efficiency tenfold in a year. More importantly, it will also reshape the soul power nodes in your body, allowing you to your soul power becomes more pure. That's awesome, that's awesome. It's a pity that such a rare treasure of red quality can only be enjoyed by us little people, alas. Yasen City, Lord's Mansion. A middle-aged man with a dignified face looked at the hot news on his mobile phone with cold eyes. Duke, a man in black came to his desk, his head lowered and his face full of respect. How's it going? The dignified-looking middle-aged man asked in a calm voice. Have you found out who the seller is who sells those 2 top-quality spirit-gathering pills? The man in black said, no. The other party sent the goods to the auction house through the magic teleportation lens. The source of the consignment cannot be traced at all. However, the transmission distance of the magic teleportation objective lens is very limited. It can be judged that this seller should be in the southern border, and should be in the territory surrounding Yasin City. The majestic-looking middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and said nothing. It was just because it was in the south that it made him feel strange. As the Duke of the Southern Territory, the Lord of Yasin City, and also the President of the Yasin City branch of the Imperial Federation Extraordinary Association, Wang En believed that the entire Southern Territory should be completely within his control. The major families, guilds, companies, sects, groups, forces, are all under the supervision of their Federal Association of Transcendence, and he can clearly see the development of the major forces every year. Logically, nothing should escape his sight. But now, a mysterious seller of unknown origin suddenly appeared. In addition to the 2 red quality top quality spirit gathering pills, there are also 1,000 soul crystals, 100,000 soul stones, and a lot of purple pink quality extraordinary materials and consumables. Even the most powerful aristocratic marquis in the southern region may not be able to come up with so many good things. This made Duke Wang En very suspicious of the origin of this mysterious seller. Duke, the men in black suggested at this time, these 2 top-quality spirit gathering pills are rare red quality pills. Why don't we find Qian Zhenglai, the president of Juxing Auction House, and let him? Quote. Duke Wang En glared at his men and said coldly, "Idiot. Don't even think about trying to trick 9-star auction house. Don't think that they are just a small auction house. Behind them is the Chamber of Commerce of 10,000 races under the Gene Company. That Qian Zhenglai is just a human race spokesperson brought to the stage by 9-star auction house. The Gene Company's business power spreads all over the world. Their background is mysterious. No one knows what the real power behind them is. They even have the ability to make deals with devils and devils. Do you think you can afford to offend?" The men in black suddenly broke into cold sweat after hearing this. They didn't expect that the background power of an auction house could be so powerful. Yes. I am talking too much. Duke Wang En looked out the window and was silent for a while, seeming to be thinking about something. After thinking for a moment, he waved his hand. Let someone take a photo of those 2 top-quality spirit gathering pills. Ah, the men in black were shocked. That's 2 billion. For 2 pills, isn't it a bit too much? Duke Wang En hesitated for a moment, but finally gritted his teeth and said, "It doesn't matter. Red quality rare treasures are really rare, so just buy it. But our territory doesn't have that much liquidity right now. Quote. Then find a reason to levy an additional 10% tax from the major guilds and low-level extraordinary people in Yasin City, and find a way to collect it as soon as possible." Yes, by the way, Duke Wang En suddenly remembered something and asked again, "How is the Yi family's situation lately?" The men in black immediately laughed and replied, "As for the Yi family, you can rest assured. Under the pressure of you and the major nobles in the south, the Yi family's family business in the human continent has not improved. Several weapon shops, pharmacies, elixir shops, and talisman shops they opened across the southern border, as well as several extraordinary props shopping malls they invested in, as well as online shopping malls, have all closed down. I see that although the Yi family has been quiet recently, their family company is probably not far from being on the verge of bankruptcy." Well, Duke Wang En nodded with satisfaction after hearing this. According to his various intelligence sources, the Yi family is indeed facing a serious financial crisis. Duke Wang En said seriously, "Even if this is the case, we can't take it lightly. Don't forget what the Yi family is best at. A long time ago, the Yi family was on the verge of bankruptcy several times, but they were able to come back to life every time. And their method of coming back to life is also very simple and crude: war. War has always been the Yi family's biggest source of income. During the Great Depression 300 years ago, the Yi family owed a huge amount of foreign debt to nobles from all over the empire, as well as allies of other races in the Don camp among all races, and had assets worth tens of billions. Yi Quan, the head of the Yi family at the time, immediately led the remaining 3,000 warriors in the family to attack the dark race. After 3 years of war, Yi Quan led tens of thousands of warriors back in triumph. It is said that in the past 3 years, he looted 20 city-states of the dark race, not only plundering hundreds of billions of gold and silver treasures, various soul crystals, and spiritual stones, high-level resources, and rescued tens of thousands of human slaves held captive by the dark race. These slaves later became the most loyal warriors of the Yi family, dedicating their lives to the Yi family from generation to generation. However, such examples are not uncommon in the history of the Yi family. According to the records of the empire's history alone, the Yi family has made such a fortune from wars at least 7 or 8 times in the past 1,000 years, and some of the wealth gained from wars, little wealth, is no longer included. Such a terrifying family was once evaluated as the madmen of war. It was difficult not to be feared by the major nobles. Even later, even the royal family was very afraid of them. Duke Wang En's face turned cold when he thought of the events of that year. He pondered for a while and then asked, "What is that old guy Yequan doing recently?" The men in black said, "Yi family's old man Yi Quan, since he stepped down as the head of the family, he has been practicing in seclusion to heal his old injuries. He has not been seen for a long time, and even people from the Yi family rarely see him. Yi Xiao, the current head of the Yi family, has reached the 9th level of the Shira realm, and is only one step away from breaking through to the Apocalypse realm. Yi Xiao's son, Yi Zhe, is currently 10 years old, and his grades at the Zan Zan Academy are also very good. It is said that when he took the entrance test for talent, his marksman learning talent and ability learning talent both reached S level. But I don't know why, Yi Zhe seems to be practicing more in the beast control profession and the swordsman profession now. Usually, fighting and performing tasks can be solved with just a straight knife and a dark spiritual pet crow. In school, his grades have always ranked first in the school, and he is currently at the 1st level of the Zan realm." Wang En frowned slightly. He didn't really care about Yi Zhe, a little guy with double S level talents. After all, he is just a 10-year-old kid. It will be at least 10 years before he grows up. On the contrary, the current head of the Yi family, Viscount Yi Xiao, made him feel a little afraid. The 9th level of Shira realm is only one step away from the Apocalypse realm. Although there are countless strong men in the Shira realm in this world, they cannot break through the barrier of the Apocalypse realm in their entire lives. But if Yi Xiao really breaks through, it means that the Yi family will have 2 strong men in the Apocalypse realm. When the time comes, won't the demonized family Yejia be brought back to life again? HMPH. Duke Wang En said, "The Yi family seems to be living very smoothly these past few years. It's time to weaken their strength again. Zan Zan Academy, 10,000 Races Research Laboratory." A gray-haired old man came to the 2nd floor and found that Yi Zhe was sitting here as expected. The old man couldn't help but nodded. "This kid is very studious. What a pity, he is a demonized mutant. Yi Zhe, you are here again." "Yes, Grandpa Wang." Yi Zhe raised his head and showed a shy and cute smile. Coupled with his harmless face, if he didn't know that he was a demonized genetic mutant, it would be difficult for anyone to hate him. Yi Zhe is a frequent visitor here, so he is very familiar with the administrator here. The white-haired old man came over and saw that the table in front of Yi Zhe was filled with atlases and information books of various races. Next to it, there are many bottles and jars, as well as many chemical equipment and alchemy equipment used for experimental research. The white-haired old man touched his beard. "Yi Zhe, in fact, with your talent in cultivation, you don't need to do things that these scholars do. In this world where thousands of races are in conflict, warrior cultivators are the mainstream after all. Learning the languages of all races, studying the genes of all races, refining elixirs, and refining potions are all things that only literati with poor combat talents can do. Yej has such a good talent in combat, but he is studying all races here. In his eyes, it is really a waste of time. Grandpa Wang, it's okay. I have completed all the training courses. I just found that I am more interested in the study of all races." Yi Zhe smiled. "Yeah, okay then." Grandpa Wang felt a little helpless. Yej is a child who is well-behaved, mature, smart, and astute, but he is too stubborn and always likes to do things according to his own interests. Obviously, when he entered school, the data test showed that his learning ability in marksmanship and supernatural abilities had reached the S level, but he ended up embarking on the path of a beast master. I really don't know what he thinks. Grandpa Wang, I want to exchange for a bottle of Thunder Monster Essence Blood. Yi Jie said at this time. Grandpa Wang was surprised. The thunder monster is a mutant monster that appears after the blood of the monster race and the blood of the beast race are hybridized. It is very rare. At the same time, its essence and blood are naturally very expensive. Grandpa Wang frowned and said, to redeem a bottle of this thunder beast essence blood, you need 300 points. It's okay. I just completed a D-level task a few days ago, and the credits are still sufficient. However, for a warrior like you, it's really a waste to use your credits to redeem this kind of research stuff. Grandpa Wang couldn't help but shook his head. You should use it to redeem various magic weapons, equipment, cultivation resources, magic tools, or exchanging them for instructional courses from famous teachers are always better than this. It's okay, Grandpa Wang. I don't need any of those things. Quote. Grandpa Wang sighed, and when he saw that he couldn't be persuaded, he gave up. He brought a bottle of thunder monster blood and gave it to Yi Jie. In his opinion, although Yej usually studies very hard and does research here just for fun, for him, a student with the talent of an S-level warrior, such a waste of credits is almost a waste of time. And it was hard for him to say anything. After all, he was not his own child. Besides, you can't dampen your child's interest, right? A kid who works very hard, but unfortunately he went in the wrong direction. Grandpa Wang shook his head in his heart. Yi Jie took the blood essence from Grandpa Wang's hand and said, "Thank you, Grandpa Wang." Yesh certainly did not do these studies out of any interest. However, it's no wonder Grandpa Wang thinks so. The blood essence of the thunder monster is very rare and expensive. It is an extraordinary material of pink quality. And while it's expensive, this thing has no real use at all. The current game plot version is version 1.15. In this version, humans have not studied the function of the blood of the thunder beast. Therefore, this thing is only used by some researchers of all races and human genetic scientists to study the genes of monsters and beasts in the laboratory. However, due to the high cost of this research, it has been stopped by the Academy for many years. In the plot of the later version of the game, it was proven that the essence blood of the thunder monster could be used to synthesize magic potions for awakening powers, so the price of the already rare and expensive thunder monster blood increased several times. Yi Jie opened the game system panel that only he could see. Opened the game's strategy guide in the home panel. Synthetic type. Acquired supernatural potion. Item name. Primary thunder power awakening potion. Awakening success probability. 10%. Awakening level. White gold. The higher the level, the lower the possibility of awakening. Materials required. 1 drop of thunder monster blood plus 50 grams of thunder grass plus 500 grams of dried fir wood powder plus 300 grams of soul stone powder plus 100 grams of silver plus 2 kilograms of purified water. Refining method. Boil pure water to 80 degrees Celsius, add dried fir wood powder, stir thoroughly, boil the water completely, add soul stone powder. Yi Jie smiled slightly. The biggest difference between supernatural professions and magic professions is that supernatural powers are innate and unique, while magic is learned, and all magic is universal. Magic abilities, such as magic missiles, fireballs, wind bullets, and rain arrows, are all universal. All magicians can learn these skills as long as they reach the corresponding level. A person with special abilities has a special ability that belongs only to you, and is usually awakened at birth. This special ability is unique. There will never be another person in the world who has the same ability as you. It may be similar, but definitely not the same. People with other powers cannot learn it even if they want to. Magic medicine allows people who have not successfully awakened their supernatural abilities to regain the opportunity to awaken through acquired medicine. Even ordinary people who have no extraordinary talents at all have the opportunity to awaken as superpowers through magic potions. Of course, the superpowers awakened the day after tomorrow are absolutely unique in this world. Due to different physiques and genes of each person, even if they take the same potion, the superpowers awakened may be completely different. However, Yi Jie remembered that this kind of magic potion was originally something that would only appear in version 2.75. If he had researched it in advance. Yi Jie smiled faintly. Are you still looking at version 1.15? I am already studying the 2.75 version of Fortune. In the evening, I returned to Yejia from the college. Yi Jie was about to enter the gate of Yejia Manor. A timid and weak female voice suddenly sounded from behind. You. Hello. Yi Jie turned around and found a strange little girl. The little girl was as old as him, about 10 years old, with fine snow-white hair, a white and tender oval face, and a pure appearance, but she looked very shy, with her 2 little hands twisted together, looking extremely weak and timid. Picture. Who are you? Yi Jie looked at this little girl whom he didn't know at all, showing some doubts. This is for you. The little girl with white hair lowered her head slightly and handed something over nervously with both hands. Yesh took it over and saw that it was a small hand-knitted pink lucky bag, which seemed to contain something else. Looking at the shape and style of this lucky bag, it looks like the little girl made it herself. Is this a gift? Is this a gift? Yes. Why did you give me this? Because. The little white-haired girl seemed to be very introverted. She pinched her fingers together and said, "Thank you for saving me last time." Ah, Yi Jie looked suspicious. Did I save her? When? Yi Jie looked at the little girl's face carefully and had no impression at all. The white-haired little girl was stared at by Yi Jie for a long time, and her pink cheeks instantly turned red like cooked lobster meat. Anyway, thank you anyway. After saying that, she bowed vigorously to Yi Jie, then turned around and ran away as if running for her life. Yi Jie looked at the little girl's disappearing back, confused. He opened the lucky bag and found that there was a soul crystal inside. Soul crystal is an important material in this world. Although it is pink quality, a piece of this size should only be worth about 100,000. Of course it's nothing to Yi Jie. But looking at the little girl's clothes, she must be a girl from a commoner background. If you can give him a piece of soul crystal, I'm afraid it will cost you all your money. It seems that this girl should be as old as him, only about 10 years old. But Yesh had never seen this little girl in the Zan Academy before, at least not a student of the same grade as him. That's even weirder. She said that she had saved her, but who could it be? Yi Jie looked at the soul crystal in his hand and put it away into the item space without paying much attention. However, just when he was about to put away the little pink lucky bag in his hand, a transparent message box suddenly popped up, making Yesh slightly stunned. Item: handwoven lucky bag given by a strange girl. Quality: white. Introduction: a gift from a girl who is grateful to you, contains the girl's deep heart and gratitude, and may bring you some good luck. Special attribute: luck plus 10. This attribute is only effective for you alone. The effect disappears when the item is transferred. Yi Jie was a little surprised. A seemingly inconspicuous handmade lucky bag actually has extra lucky attributes. Master, is that your friend? The housekeeper walked out of the door of Yi's house and asked curiously. Oh, no, Yi Jie said, it's a stranger I don't know. Yi Jie seemed to understand a little. It seems that as long as you receive a gift from relatives, friends or even strangers, as long as it is full of heart, it is possible to have such hidden special attributes attached to it. Luck attribute is a very rare attribute in the game. Even high-quality items and equipment can hardly increase the character's luck value. Like the straight knives and long swords given to him by Shui and Yao Yao last time, these are the lucky attributes of the weapons themselves. The success rate will only be increased when strengthening and enchanting. It did not improve his own fortune. I didn't expect a white-quality lucky bag to be. Butler. Master, the master and his wife are already waiting for you in the restaurant. Let's go in quickly. Yi Jie came back to his senses. Yeah, okay. While walking in Yejia's garden, Yejia's crow suddenly flew back, landed on his shoulder, and whispered something to him. Yi Jie narrowed his eyes slightly. Master, what's wrong with you? The housekeeper turned around and looked at him strangely. Nothing. Yi Jie smiled. You go in first, I will entertain the new guests. Guest. The butler's face was full of questions. A man in black quickly jumped between the big trees in Yejia Manor. Guigi, this manor is too big. The man in black investigated for a long time, and the huge manor building complex in front of him made him secretly speechless. The Yi family, a crazy and warlike demonized family, has been suppressed by other nobles of the empire, as well as sects and guild forces for thousands of years, but it actually still has such a big foundation. If this allows them to develop without restrictions, tisk tisk tisk. I don't dare think about it. However, the men in black only dared to conduct investigations in the periphery. The head of the Yi family, Yi Xiao, is currently in that large luxury villa. That is a strong man in the Shira realm. If you get any closer, you will die if you go in. Look at the magic musical fountain, look at the majestic sculptures, look at the servants in maid uniforms. The man in black cursed to himself. These upper-class guys in this fool world are living a very comfortable life. I don't know what it's like inside the villa. Yi Ji's voice suddenly sounded. Want to know? How about I take you in and sit down? Okay. The man in black was stunned for a moment. Immediately, all the hairs on his body suddenly stood upside down. Turning around suddenly, he saw a shy and handsome little boy about 10 years old, standing with one foot on a branch next to him, looking at him with a smile. The man in black looked at Yi Ji's photo. At a glance, he recognized that this was the young master of the Yi family, Yi Xiao's only son, Yi Zhe. You. The man in black showed an expression of fear and disbelief, as if he had seen a ghost. He is a specially trained detective-type extraordinary person. Although he only has the strength of the Zan realm, his ability to detect and track through concealment is very good. Even masters of the 100-soul realm may not be able to detect his aura within 10 meters. The young master of the Yi family in front of him was obviously just a transcendent who had just entered the second stage of the profound realm. How could it be possible to discover him? And when did he appear? He didn't even notice it. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as your promise. Our Yi family is very hospitable. Yi Zhe still smiled shyly, slowly raised his hand, and the dark crow standing on his finger flew out. The pitch-black crow turned into a strange and void black mist in an instant, and 10 more crows jumped out of the black mist in an instant. Their black feathers flew away, and they flew towards the man in black to attack. Seeing this, the man in black suddenly turned back, and with quick movement, he avoided the attack of the group of crows and jumped to the top of another big tree. The man in black's eyes darkened. I didn't expect that I would be discovered today. But fortunately, this place is still on the outskirts of Yejia Manor. Just escape from here before Yej calls for help. And the night song in front of me. The man in black didn't take it to heart. He is also in the mysterious realm. As an extraordinary person at the 6th stage of the mysterious realm, would he be afraid of a kid at the 2nd stage of the mysterious realm? The man in black raised his right hand, made a magic gesture, and softly recited some kind of incantation. 2nd level magic, fireball. After chanting for a few seconds, the man in black saw a flash of orange light in his hand, condensing a magic flame ball the size of a rubber ball. As a scout, this is the only damage-based skill he is good at and knows. Originally, scouts didn't need many damaging abilities. Boom! The man in black took out the hot fireball in his hand and roared towards Yi Zhe. The hot orange fire reflected in Yi Ji's eyes, which she had been waiting for a long time. Magical copying, ability activated. Copy magic, dark fireball. I saw Yi Ji's wrist turned up, without singing at all, and a black hot fireball suddenly appeared in his hand. That weird black fireball was even surrounded by a vague and strange black halo, with a dark red halo flickering faintly in it. Man in black, what the hell is this? Is this kind of magic taught in elementary school textbooks? And, why don't you even need to chant or form a magic seal to activate your skills? Not only that, the dark fireball thrown by Yi Zhe was several times larger than the fireball released by the man in black. Almost the size of a truck tire. The man in black opened his eyes wide, and saw that the small fireball he released was instantly swallowed up by the black fireball, and then hit him head on. Boom! Most of the tree's crown was instantly devoured and burned by black flames. At the moment of the explosion, the man in black dodged again and disappeared without a trace. 2nd level martial skill, Ghost Step. Whoosh! Whoosh! He jumped out of the way a few times, and then the aftermath of the explosion rushed hundreds of meters away in the blink of an eye. Yi Zhe looked at the back of the man in black escaping in the dark night. He escaped quite quickly. The figure of the man in black is like the wind. As a reconnaissance-type transcendent, his grades in martial arts classes were very good, but his physical training was all about agility and flexibility. Even if you can't fight, escaping is still a must. In a few seconds, the man in black had escaped from Yejia Manor. Fortunately, I have advanced martial arts skills like Ghost Quick Step. The man in black let out a deep breath and maintained his half-crouched position on the ground, feeling that he should be safe now. At this time, a small hand stretched out from behind and patted his shoulder. Ghost Quick Step, right? Not bad, it's mine. The man in black's pupils dilated and he turned his head in disbelief. Yi Ji's little figure appeared behind him like a ghost, showing him a cruel smile. The next day, Yi Jie was not surprised at all that someone was spying on Yi's family. He remembered very clearly that in the plot of the game, when Ye was 10 years old, many changes occurred in the Yi family. Duke Wang En united with the White Dao forces from the Southern Federation Extraordinary Association to suppress the Yi family overtly and covertly. Cousin Yi Shengshang, the traitor to the Yi family, was also bribed by Duke Wang En. It was also in this year that my father led the territorial soldiers to the front lines of the 10,000 tribes battlefield to support and resist the 10,000 tribes. But after he left, he didn't come back for several years. When the news came back to him, it was the news that his father was framed by traitors and traitors on the front line and died in battle. Night Song thinking, he is only 10 years old now. His strength is nothing more than the mysterious realm. At only 10 years old, what things can he change now? Meow. At this time, a frightened cat Meow suddenly came. White Blood Spirit sprinted in from outside the house as if running for his life, and suddenly got behind Yi Jie. Quote? Yi Jie looked confused, not knowing what happened. What could make a golden spiritual pet so scared? Oh, Ling Ling, don't run away. The young mother Zhou Yuqing, dressed in a pink apron, ran into Yeji's room. The white-blooded spirit hiding behind Yi Jie huddled up and looked at Zhou Yuqing with a frightened expression on his face, as if he was a huge enemy. Yi Ji's face was full of confusion. Mom, what are you doing? Zhou Yuqing pursed her lips, looking aggrieved. I just want to spend more time with the lovely Ling Ling to enhance our relationship. I just gave her a bath and fed her snacks, but she seemed to be frightened by me and refused to let me hug her. Yi Jie didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Thinking about it, I know that it must be the same as Xia Xiao before. The little civet cat can't stand Zhou Yuqing's enthusiasm. After all, the civet is still a proud creature. White Blood Spirit almost collapsed inside. What on earth is going on with this family? Have you never sucked a cat in your last life? Forget about that little human girl a few days ago. She is a child after all, and I don't have the same experience as her. Why are you such a big adult woman? You still act like a child. You grabbed a cute cat and held it in your arms, licking it and kissing it like crazy. It only takes 2 hours to kiss. Moreover, I thought that I, the Empress of the Spirit Demon clan and a powerful soul emperor who had been dictatorial for eternity, could be raised as a spiritual pet in this life, and yet I was caught on all fours and bathed in someone's arms. Ah, aren't you a family of demonized mutants? Can you look a little bit like a demon family? Hey. Okay Ling Ling, Mom was wrong. Did it hurt when Mom gave you a bath just now? Can you let Mom hug you again? Zhou Yuqing didn't give up yet, and wanted to get behind Yi Jie to take the little civet out. The white blood spirit was so frightened that he almost jumped up, meow, and simply got into Yeji's clothes. Yeji felt the palm-sized piece of fluffy flesh crawling through her clothes, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Forget it, Mom, Ling Ling is still in her infancy, you will scare her. Ah, okay. Zhou Yuqing sighed regretfully, turned to leave dejectedly. By the way, Yi Jie asked, how was the interrogation of the man in black last night? Died, yes. Zhou Yuqing turned around, shrugged and smiled without taking it too seriously. The other party was a professionally trained spy who failed the mission and committed suicide by taking poison. Yi Jie frowned. I remember, I should have taken out the poison sac hidden in his mouth, right? It's useless. Professional spies like them will seal a special toxin within the body's veins. If that fails, they will use specific martial arts techniques to circulate their soul power to quickly circulate the toxin throughout the body. Zhou Yuqing smiled and touched Yeji's head, but my little Yeji can actually think that the other party has hidden poison in his mouth. It's really amazing. Come on, Mom, give me a kiss. Song of the night. After receiving a kiss on the cheek from a relative, Zhou Yuqing said, tomorrow is your grandfather's birthday, so prepare yourself and remember to go to bed early. By the way, you can also let Xiao come and play together. Grandpa. Yi Jie was stunned. Grandpa is out of seclusion. Yes, Grandpa has successfully broken through to the 8th stage of the Apocalypse realm. Zhou Yuqing smiled. Oh, and your cousin will be back tomorrow. Cousin. Yi Jie narrowed his eyes. Yi Shengshang. In the game plot, the traitor of the Yi family secretly poisoned Grandpa by taking advantage of his relatives being unprotected. He is also the character he hates the most in the plot. Haha, you finally showed up. Yi Jie in the original plot of the game did not know that his grandfather was killed by Yi Shengshang, and because Yi Jie in the original plot was too kind, he was soft-hearted towards him in the end and could not bear to kill his cousin. Yi Jie sneered. But now, he will no longer show mercy to such a villain. Yasen City, Lord's Mansion. Duke Wang En stood in front of a floor-to-ceiling window with a gloomy expression. The spies he sent out to monitor the Yi family had not sent back any news using the designated method for a whole day. Then there is only one possibility. He died. Unexpectedly, there were experts responsible for counter-surveillance on the periphery of Yejia, and they were able to discover the investigators he had carefully trained. Duke, a young man who looked like a subordinate, came in hurriedly. Speak. Yi Quan from the Yi family is out of seclusion, and has successfully broken through and reached the 8th stage of the Apocalypse realm. Quote! Quote. Duke Wang En's face became even more ugly. But soon, his expression gradually calmed down again. Then he let out a cold chuckle. Ah, finally out of seclusion, old man from the Yi family. Duke Wang En turned around and said, inform Yi Shengshang that our plan can be started. The subordinate replied, yes. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.